Casino. Seat 6 is high-stakes Hollywood home game specialist Gary Pollock. He hosts some of the biggest games with celebrities and high-stakes players around in the Los Angeles area, and he's come down to play on Live at the Bike. Seat 7, of course, is the great David Oppenheim, ultra-high-stakes player, very, very successful tournament player. Of course, we heard Barry Greenstein talk about the fact that he thinks that he's a much better player than Daniel Negreanu when Barry was on last week. Seat 8 is currently open, and Seat 9 is Ali Aslami. He is a high-stakes cash game specialist as well. Some people might know him from last year when Greg Raymer rivered him, knocked him out of the World Series of Poker main event, and he would have been in the driver's seat, and it actually, kind of gave Raymer the momentum to go on and win that tournament last year in the main event of the World Series of Poker.
So the poor guy only ended up winning a few million instead of the big prize.
Well, at least tens of thousands of dollars, okay. I'm sure. Now, I know this is the first time that you're in here, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for you because there's a lot of multitasking that goes on, but we can see the cards up there, and those are the whole card cameras right there with the people that have their cards. Now, the flop has come 9, deuce, 7, and Freddie Bignani in seat 2, he's going to bet. He has an open-ended straight draw. He has 8-10, and he's going to take it down, a strong semi-bluff. So do you talk about with the celebrities and some of the new people coming out, the concept of semi-bluffing?
Really, most of the time the celebrities are at square one.
Square one.
So we don't get really into too much strategy until I actually get down to explaining the blinds, which takes quite a bit of time as well because most people are used to an ante system.
Yep.
But once we get that down, we can actually start getting into the strategy. Semi-bluff. Did the semi-bluff win there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it did. He took it down. And again, I want to stress the fact that there's a lot of people that are heavily into poker that follow this show, that this is kind of the strangest game that I have ever seen. We've been spreading it for a few weeks. It is the largest restricted buy and no-limit game I've ever seen live. I mean, $5,000 max, but the blind is $100. It's just like a $200 or a $300 to $500 game. Same approach you would take to win this game heads up, which is usually pretty much ABC. It's not like a big no-limit game where you have a lot of chips that you can make moves with. I mean, you are short-stacked when you enter the game.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So we've got a board here of Jack, 10, 5, and...
Everyone's suited in clubs. Check this out.
Gary's picked up top pair there in seat 6, and he's going to bet. Looks like about 300, and he's going to
take that one. Nobody else had much to go with.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny that you're into poker and comedy.
Started poker a long time before, but I believe it or not, there are a lot of similarities.
Really?
There really are.
Yeah.
You go through the same ups and downs that you do in poker. It seems like you do the same thing one night and it works, and the next night you do it and it doesn't. So there's a whole lot of emotional stability that you have to keep check of if you want to be a successful winner at both.
Now, of course, over here, what I'm looking at right now is a thread that started on the internet every single night. It's on 2plus2.com, spelled out. Click on forums, click on World Poker Tour and other televised tournaments, and you can reach us. People make live comments about the show. You can also email us at live@thebike.com, and we will do our best to...
We'll get back to you. We'll get back to the person that just asked, has it started yet?
Well, it's on a 5-minute delay, so it probably has just started for them. Look at this. Freddie in C2. He's flopped trip 9s. The turn is a 10. Everyone checked on the flop, and he's going to slow play it, and now he puts some money in. He bets 400 here on the turn. Doesn't look like...
You're going to get maybe some action from the 10. That would be a bad call. That was a blind hand, wasn't it, the 10-4?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
yep.
I wonder.
Now, have you ever played at limits this high?
I have before,
Really?
but I don't make a habit out of it. What I'm seeing so far is a whole bunch of solid players here in the game. It's not going to be easy for anybody to pedal the nuts to the next player. So it doesn't look... Is anyone in... I just got here. Is anyone in a particular commanding lead right now?
Well, we're going to get a chip count here coming up pretty soon. Again, most of the time the players stack their chips in 20-chip denominations.
Right.
So, a stack of white is $2,000.
Of course.
Now, we only started about an hour ago, so I would be surprised to see if anybody had over 10,000 in chips. So I still think we're probably short chips.
Feeling each other out right now at this stage.
Now, again, if you see a pink chip fly on the table, those are not action tournament action chips that we've had here on the show in the past. Those are $50 chips. Ali in seat 9 has some $50 chips.
Okay.
Now we are heads up here.
Jack 9 against the Jack 5.
Yep, Jack 9 against Jack 5, and the board is King 3, 9, a couple of diamonds, and a Queen of Hearts on the turn.
Gotcha, right here.
Yeah, right here we've got the board, we've got the main. This is what the people on TV see right here, and these are the hole cards right there. And I got to tell you, in the first 5 minutes, you're doing a great job. If you've been seeing because I've done this for 1,500 hours, and I get it wrong sometimes.
It's hard to know exactly what to look at. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm getting a little feel now for where the button is. That's good.
And, of course, this is the Poker Blues whale game. Everyone can go to pokerblue.net and check out their site. Tonight, whale game, as always on Wednesdays, is sponsored by Poker Blue. Now, David Oppenheim, he's got to be one of the strongest players on the table there in Seat 7. We haven't really seen him play yet. Again, he plays ultra-high-stakes cash games, and he's been on several episodes of the WPT on the Travel Channel in the past.
Right. And Yosh is no stranger to a big game.
Right.
He is a very fearless player, a very solid one. I've known him for a long, long time. We used to play 10-20 and 15-30 together. That's how far back I go with Yosh.
Yeah. So you used to play 15-30 with him, huh?
A long, long time ago. There wasn't a whole lot of No Limit around back then.
Right. Well, of course, there wasn't really any No Limit until the last couple of years of the cash game format.
It was hard to find. During the tournaments, you would see it. And back then, there were only 2 tournaments a year. There was the Slim Tournament in the springtime and the World Slim Tournament right after the World Series of Poker was in the springtime. Super Bowl of Poker was pretty much the Slim. What did we do? What did we miss? Nobody's really speeding yet.
It looks like David Oppenheim.
Someone's going to have to take a bad beat to get this game going.
Looks like David Oppenheim is getting up from the table because he can't listen to his iPod. We don't allow electronic equipment on the table.
That's the new thing now pretty much at all the tournaments, isn't it?
Well, this, of course, isn't a tournament. This is a cash game. And but we don't do it because of the fact that to protect the integrity of the game, anyone miking our room and having signals and stuff like that. But that's what makes Live at the Bike very, very unique, is the fact that this is the first time anyone has seen a cash game with hole cards. So chip counts and where people stand in terms of how many chips they have doesn't necessarily make all that much of a difference as compared to a tournament. Now, in no-limit cash playing, it does make a difference because you need to know how much you can make off of a guy. But once you go broke, you can hop right back into your pocket.
A lot of folks that are newcomers to the game are really not aware of the fact that when they're watching the final table, that those aren't actual cash amount chips that they're looking at, whereas this is exactly what you're seeing right here. This is an actual cash value that you're looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Freddie Farzad is heads up here against Gary in seat 6. 6-9 of clubs.
Pocket queens.
Oh, look at this, yeah. Gary's got pocket queens, and he turns a queen, so he's got a set of queens now. And he's going to bet. Freddie checked it on the flop. Gary checked right behind him. Interesting, it looked like. He checked behind him, gave the opportunity for an overcard to hit on there on the turn, but hit a set there on the turn.
Did hit the set, but there really wasn't too much of a draw out there against him. When you get a no-limit game, most of the time, when you see all the chips go in the middle, it's a big hand against a big draw.
Right.
That's what you're going to see most of the time. And there we had a big hand, but there was no real draw to come out against it.
Yeah. Again, we are here live at the bike, getting into the first couple minutes. My name is Bart Hansen. I'm here with Roger Rudd, celebrity poker instructor and comedian.
Comedian, actor, whatever they're spreading, I'm in.
And we are doing 50, 100, no-limit hold'em. White chips are $100 chips. Purples are $25 chips.
Now, I'm not seeing where they put the blinds.
The button is in seat 6.
I see the button, but I don't see where the... Okay, the blinds already got picked up. Got you.
Yeah, and Gary has raised here from the button. He's got pocket queens again.
They came right back.
Queens again.
He's got the 2 red ones. What's he up against?
The small blind, Joe.
Ace-queen.
Yeah, Joe's just going to smooth call on the small blind, so we're heads up. Ace-queen against pocket queens. 7-7 king. Now, Joe's a crafty player. He could check raise here with nothing, but look at this. It goes check, check. The turn's a 10. Let's see if Joe fires now. He's got a gut shot. He's going to bet here, Roger.
Gary's got to make a raise here.
And there you go, a bet of 400, and he makes it, it looks like 800 total, and Joe quickly calls with his draw. His ace would be
looking
good
for
if
an
it
ace
came. And
open.
look at this, it's a jack on the river. He makes the nut straight. And he's going to push all in here. He's going to push all in. Well, a little bit, again, we are on the short stack in this game. It looks like it's an all-in for about, I don't know, maybe $3,000, $3,500. The pot, he's betting about the size of the pot, I'd say. I'd say the pot's about $7,000, and he's betting about $3,500 to call. Now, there isn't a lot that Gary can beat. He can't beat
No,
a
there
king.
really isn't. He can beat a bluff here. He can look
Yeah.
at the king and say that that's good enough to have my 2 queens go right into the muck.
Right.
He's got to throw this hand away.
And there you go. He's going to muck it. And Joe moves all in. I was going to say, in a much bigger no-limit game where these people were really, really deep, that could tend to be a little bit of a dangerous move there for Joe. If he had 100,000 in front of him, and the other guy had 100,000 in front of him, and now in a pot that's only 15,000, Joe moves all in, where the only thing that he could really get called by is a full house there.
Exactly.
But at this point, they are fairly short chipped, so he decides to move all in there.
When I wanted Gary to raise on 4th Street, I was looking for a raise that would have kept him out of the pot. He didn't make a big enough raise.
No, he just raised at the minimum. Yeah. Now Joe is raised here from the button. He's got ace queen again. 2 hands in a row. 2 times in a row. These guys have the same hands. And he's going to take it down there without contention. That's incredible.
Picking up that inside straight. That reminds me of Doyle Brunson's first book. He said the guy that lost 2 farms.
Yeah.
One drawing to inside straights, and the second one was when he made them.
Actually, we're getting word here that we might not have... The commercial might have gotten cut off in the beginning of the show, so once again, I'm going to repeat what this show is, and I'm here with Roger Rudd, celebrity poker instructor and comedian. We're doing 50, 100, no-limit hold'em, $5,000 max buy-in. And we apologize for the technical difficulties in the beginning of the show. And I want to go into a little explanation last night of exactly what we were doing. We had the show on. It was a rerun, so everyone on Windows Media Player could catch us. And basically, we did not start the show 30 minutes late. It was basically anyone that went on would get the beginning of the show. And I think what people were doing was they were seeing the beginning commercial, thinking that the stream hadn't been activated yet, because normally if you come in late, you'd hop right into the action, and they were just shutting it off. But I tried it at 5:30, and it was working. So it was on there for several hours, and I hope that clears stuff up for people from last night. Now look at this. Freddie Bignati, he's going to raise with the button. King-Jack offsuit. And Yosh calls in the small blind with Jack-10. Both players flop second pair here.
Yosh is way out of
Ace-6
position. I don't think he's going to lose much on this hand.
Well, of course, we know Yosh is a pretty tight player. Look at this. Yosh check calls here.
I'm very
It was
surprised.
a $600 bet. A king comes on the turn, and that gives Freddie 2 pair. Kings up, kings and jacks.
Freddie figures to make a sizable bet here.
Well, Yosh has got a gut shot to the queen. A queen would make his hand here. And that's all that he'd be able to catch.
There's a couple of draws out there that Freddie would be wanting to stop from calling here. He had to make a sizable bet. I would not see Yosh calling here.
Again, this is restricted buy-in no limit, and if Yosh only has maybe 1,700 left, he might say, well, maybe I'll throw the rest in and just rebuy. Now, obviously, that's not optimal play, and he's going to muck it.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm surprised that he made the call there on the flop.
I was
to be
very
honest
surprised
with you.
as well.
Yeah.
A check call. I could have seen him maybe leading, getting raised at, and throwing it away, but
Yeah.
a check call. Probably wanted to see if he was going to lead out on 4 if a scare card didn't come.
So again, now Yosh looks like he's got about 2,000 in front of him, which is about 40% of the original that you start with. And I believe that he has the option, well, maybe he has over 2,500. He's probably right at that mark. And Roger, what I tell people that are learning no limit when they come in these restricted buy-in games, that right at that threshold when you are you would want to bring your stack back up, pull back into your pocket, that you can actually gamble it up a little bit. Just like when you're right at the $105 mark of a $200 game. So in this case, let's see if Yosh gambles it up. He may push all in with a small pocket pair or something like that.
A little bit of a strategy to add to the stack. That's
Yeah.
pretty much you're saying.
Yeah.
Either that or you pump up or buy in some more.
Exactly. Because right now he's not allowed to buy in until he goes
So
below
he goes
that
below the
2,500
mark.
Yeah.
Understood.
So we've got the big blind in seat 7, small blind in seat 6, and Ken Berg over there in seat 4 has the button. Now Ali is going to limp in there with Jack 10 of hearts. We're going to see a chip count there.
Oh, there we go.
So there we go. No, most people are not. They don't. There's only one person that has double the size of the buy-in right now. So we're definitely still feeling each other out.
And he lost that big pot with the queens.
Right. So he's probably down to maybe 5,000 now. We got 5-way action. It's a family pot here. Limped around. Ali under the gun had limped with Jack 10 of hearts in seat 9. He's flopped top pair. Actually, top 2 pair. He's got Jack 10. The flop comes 3 Jack 10, and he checks it, and it gets checked around. Now the turn is the 9. Now let's see if Jack 10 fires here. So he chose to slow play top 2 from up front. Now he's going to bet. He's going to bet $700.
I believe he was looking to check raise on the flop.
Now Yoshi's going to muck, Ken mucks, and luckily for him, that 9 didn't complete any straight or anything. And
checking with a Jack 10 when you've got top 2 is always a pretty dangerous move because there are a whole lot of draw cards that are going to come on 4th Street that can counterfeit your hand.
Roger, you're preaching to the choir. You know, my personal strategy is to almost always fast play in restricted buy-in, no limit games. Now, again, people are saying, well, this is a huge game. Why wouldn't you get tricky? Again, this is set up as a restricted buy-in, no limit game. And unless the stacks are really deep, playing this game straightforward usually is the winning proposition when you're short chipped in a no limit game.
Absolutely.
Freddie Mignati there over there in seat 2. It looks like he's limped in with the ace jack off suit. He's under the gun. We're going to see 3-way action. Actually, I believe he was in second position there. The flop comes 9-9-3. And Ali has got a pair of 3s with the jack 3, and he's going to bet here. Now Joe also has a 3, and he's got a better kicker. And he has check raised here, Roger.
That's an interesting play.
And he's going to get Ali to muck the hand.
Because he's representing the 9 in the blind hand. That's a good play.
Yeah.
It's a very good play.
It's funny, we have this conversation usually David Shirley, the other commentators of the show, and I, about ace-jack offsuit in early position in an unrestricted buy, in a restricted buy, no limit game. A lot of times the best, way to play that hand, especially if you're short chip, is just to muck it. It's a very difficult hand to play out of position. Now we are a little bit short. I think we're 6 or 7 handed, so we're actually 6 handed.
Players on break right now, is that what's up?
Yeah, I think there's a couple players on break. So ace-jack offsuit, that might be good enough to raise there.
6-handed now is looking a lot better. It goes up in value.
Yeah. Ken Berg in seat 4, he brings it in for 400. He's got ace-king. And Gary in the cutoff, he's called with a queen-10 offsuit. Flop comes jack 6.
I'm looking to check here.
And that's exactly what happens. Check. Turns a 3, third spade.
Now we're going to find out who wants this pot.
Wow, check
Gary could have
again.
stolen it there, I think.
Yeah.
I think Gary could have taken it.
Oh, but he backs into a pair.
Now he's got something. This would be a good time to check if it gets checked to him. I'd turn it over.
Well,
I wouldn't want to value bet this hand. Only something better than your hand is going to call you.
Yeah.
Most likely raise you.
Well, by Ken not continuing with the lead, if Ken had continued with the lead bet there on the flop, he probably
might have been able to take it.
down.
Yeah, he let him catch up.
Yeah.
Always easier to say that when you can see those little windows up there with the cards on them, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. And sometimes we talk about, the dangers of calling raises, again, in restricted buy-in, no limit games with a hand like queen-10 offsuit. Because you're so short-chipped, it's a hand that's easily dominated.
Yes, it is.
4 players.
Now we've got a 4-way pot here, limped around. It's a $400 pot.
They're all roughly in the same row.
Yeah, a lot of
There's
7,
2
8s,
spades
and 9,
look the
10s.
best. Look like they got the best of this fall.
Yeah. Freddie Bignati there in seat 2. He's got a flush draw. But Gary, I think Gary bet in position. He bet 400 on a total bluff. And look at this. He mucks the flush draw in seat 2.
Can't really blame him on that.
And Yosh mucks.
Can't blame him.
Well, you might only get to see one card. You don't necessarily know if your implied odds are there if you hit your spade, if the guy's going to pay you off. And that's pretty much what happened.
And there's a good likelihood that somebody has an ace, so none of your pair cards are any good.
Yep. So what's it like now living in the LA poker scene, especially when you're in tune with all those celebrities?
It's
Have you been over at Laura Prepon's house? Or Prepon's, what's her from the '70s show?
Oh no, she has a game.
Yeah. Oh, she supposedly's got a. She's she's.
I have
into
yet
that.
to be invited,
Big
but
time.
Laura, if you're out there, listen, I'd love to come. Hell, I'll even deal that one.
9 deuce 8 here, a couple of diamonds.
It hit the ace 9. It hit the ace 9. And
Yep.
that's it.
And Gary's going to bet here with the ace 9. He bets 400. And looks like he's going to take it down.
You start seeing patterns, and it looks like the $400 flop bet has become very common here
Yeah.
to represent that I hit top pair.
Well, the other thing too is you see patterns with raises. How many times the big blind? In a cash
exactly.
game. Sometimes it seems like these guys are bringing in for 300 or 400, 3 or 4 times the big blind. Barry Greenstein, again, he was talking about last week on the show that he likes to keep his raises pre-flop consistent and no limit so that people can't pick up on patterns.
That's a good strategy. You can't argue with too much Barry's done. He's won a whole lot of games.
Pocket sevens here is going to raise. That's Ali. And Gary calls with 6-7 offsuit. Gary's in big trouble. King 4-4 on the flop. Ali's going to bet. He's going to bet
Should be
500, and he takes it down. Now, Gary, I was doing a little pre-interview with him, Gary Pollock. Of course, he hosts a lot of big games in, and again, I don't know if this was cut off from the webcast, but he hosts a lot of big Hollywood home games. And he says he likes to specialize in games that people are uncomfortable playing at, the limit that they're playing at. So he likes to play the bigger, the better. He says he has the bankroll for it, he has the money. He wants to make people feel uncomfortable about the limit that they're playing at.
It's a good strategy.
So, and he's played in extremely high games. Freddie has limped in here with King 10 offsuit. And Joe gets a ride in the big blind with King 3. Uh-oh. 2 people have flopped top pair, and I know Joe pretty well. He could really make a move here. But he leads in right away. Yep. Now, Freddie bets 200, and Joe check raises him 300 more. I had a feeling that this was coming, Roger. And Joe's in kicker trouble here.
Big trouble.
Yep.
He
Again,
can
they
hit his
call
kicker and get counterfeited easily.
They call him Action Joe.
I can see why.
But the thing about Freddie is he only, he's got King 10. He might not be too comfortable with his kicker as well. It is
No, of
heads
course
up.
not.
Now, the turn is an 8. See what Joe does here. The pot is about $1,000 right now. The action's on Joe in seat 7.
He's wondering if he's being trapped, but he's going to find out for 1,000.
Well, he checks. So Joe's checked from up front, and Freddie's going to bet. He's bet 1,000. Freddie has bet 1,000, about the size of the pot. And now the action goes back over to Joe. And at this point, King 3 can't be looking that good. But look at this. Joe quickly calls. So now the pot is $3,000, and Joe's going to near a miracle card here, and it does not come. The river is a deuce.
I believe somebody put him on a flush draw. For him to have called that quickly, I can't see him making a play with that.
And he's looking around for chips that he's dropped.
Never go broke looking for the chip on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. One yellow chip for $5 when you're losing about $3,000 in the hand. And let's see if this one goes check here. Nope. Freddie's going to put another bet in.
pretty
Maybe
well
he puts him
committed
on
to this hand.
he puts him on a weak king, and it's a great value bet. If he doesn't, look at this.
And he comes
Joe's
right
going to
to-
make the $1,800 call, and Freddie is going to take down a $6,600 pot there with King 10. Joe was just not. He was too stubborn. He could not get away from the king weak kicker, and he got burned.
That is excellent mathematics on your part, my friend.
Yeah.
You had that totaled up quickly. Interesting to watch what Action Joe does on the next hand. He's a little steamed right now. I think the standards might go down a little bit. Wouldn't be surprised to see him in this pot.
A lot of money in poker is won and lost through steaming.
And he threw it away. Good play.
Now look at this. Gary has raised here with 9-10 offsuit.
Where's our button?
Seat 6. Gary's in position. And now, of course, Yosh is going to, now like we said, he pushes all in with pocket sixes here because he's on the short stack.
It's a good play.
Yep.
As you're saying, exactly what you were saying. He can gamble with it.
Yeah, he can gamble with it, and he's going to
get away with it.
He's going to get
It's
away
a
with
good play.
it. Now, obviously, Yosh is not going to push in, $3,000 with pocket sixes in a 5-10 no-limit game or a 10-20 no-limit game. This is a restricted buy-in game. He doesn't have that much in front of him.
Or if this were a tournament, it's not likely he would have
Right.
done that, and that was his last stack.
Yeah.
Strategy changes according to what you're playing in the
What
setup and
cash
the rules.
games? Yeah. And I always say that there really are 3 types of hold'em cash games. There's limit cash games, obviously. There's no limit unrestricted buy-ins, and then there's no limit restricted buy-in. 3 different types of games. And this game, the no limit restricted buy-in game, it might be the biggest game going in terms of the most people playing it now in the casinos.
I would have to think so. I haven't seen anything bigger in this area.
Ali has raised here with the ace-queen, and he's going to take the blinds down.
And he's going to show it.
Yep. And now Joe's going to rebuy for 3,500, so you think he's going to do a short buy. Unless he
That's
might.
Action Joe we're talking about?
Yeah, Action Joe. He actually might have 1,500 in front of him, so maybe they're allowing. I thought that you could bring your stack up to 7,500, but you might only be able to bring it up to 5,000. We'll get confirmation on that. That seems probably logical. So Joe's buying him for 3,500, bringing his stack up to 5,000 now.
Right. It also kind of explains that $1,500 call on the end.
Kind of pot committed there.
Kind of got pot committed, and he was in the situation Yosh was in a minute ago where he wanted to rebuy. What do we got?
Now we've got Yosh, I believe. You raised out of the big blind with 5-9 offsuit. Freddie had completed out of the small blind. Freddie flops top pair. I think Yosh was just trying to steal the blind from Freddie, and Freddie called with the queen 6.
He's checking to see how deep he is.
And he checks, and now Yosh bets with absolutely nothing, and Freddie has top pair, and he's not going anywhere probably. And he's asking how much Yosh has left. He's got 2,600 left here, Roger. And this might be a time, again, in a restricted buy-in game. And I believe that Freddie said all in, and Yosh just quickly mucked. And you'll see the chips go right over there to Freddie.
Right.
We've seen these players play pretty ABC here so far. Haven't really seen anything out of
That
line.
was really the first move right there, and it was, again, the situation you're talking about. He's at that halfway area where he wants to rebuy or hit something.
Yeah.
He's trying to pump his stack up.
Gary's going to bring this one in for 300.
He's got the pocket tens.
Pocket tens, and he's going to take it
Gary
down.
does?
There.
Okay.
Yep. He takes it down. Now, do you play a lot of limit hold'em as well?
Not anymore.
Not anymore,
Not
no?
since we've had no limit.
Yeah.
Limit is nowhere near the game that this is.
Well, it's nowhere near the
skill
in terms
factor.
of skill, you're right. It really
Skill
isn't.
factor.
But I find the game itself actually easier. It's more mechanical, and you don't have to. If you feel mentally lazy, you can play it.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's more of an automatic. Have a pre-game plan.
Skills
type
that you
thing.
develop as a poker player pay larger dividends in a no-limit game.
Absolutely, I totally
Because
agree.
there's just far less moves you can make in a limit game. As you mentioned, it's very mechanical.
Yeah. Now Yosh raised here, late position with 4-7 of hearts, and Gary called with pocket deuces, and it went check check on the flop. Now with the 10
Gary's
pairs,
subject to make a move here. Yeah, I thought he was going to.
and he bets.
He's going to take this one.
And again, if Yosh had continued with the lead, he probably, I would think, with the king
Would
or
have
an ace
taken
coming
a
in.
lot of nerve with
Yeah.
that king.
Yeah.
When that king fell and you get called on
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a hold'em card. When you see those queens, kings, and aces show up on the fall, it's always a little scary to lead out. Oh. 1, 2, 3. What, we got 6-handed right now still?
Yep, 6-handed. I think we're getting another player, though.
And they were discussing a seat open. 2 seats.
Looks like another Live at the Bike favorite, Chu. She's a Cambodian lady. She's going to buy in, and she's a pretty action player as well.
An Asian girl that likes to play fast. I've never seen that before.
Are you talking about poker, Roger?
Actually, yes, I was, but we're going to keep it G-rated, folks.
Now, Ali is top flop pair here with the ace-9. And it gets checked around. There was a $300 pre-flop raise. I believe it was by Joe in seat 7. Now, maybe not. He was in the big blind. But anyways, it got checked around on the flop, and now Ali is probably going to bet here with the ace. He's going to bet about $1,200. That's about the size of the pot.
That should win this.
Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
There you go. He's going to take it down.
We haven't really seen any ideal matchups for a large pot.
No, we haven't. Again, we're still early in this game, and there
Very
haven't
much
been.
so.
And again, I'm trying to get confirmation. I don't know if Donna can possibly ask the Yosh, the person who's hosting this game. The reason maybe why we haven't seen the larger chip stacks is, are they only allowing the players to buy up to 5,000 when they go broke? She'll ask that to Yosh. Power of instant technology there, Roger.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
You notice she's smart enough to wait till Yosh has made a move on his
Yeah.
hand before she bothers him.
Yeah. Okay, and we're getting confirmation that is the case. So they can't necessarily bring it up to 7,500, so that's why we don't see a lot of chips on the table yet.
Gotcha.
I believe.
We're playing today. We're playing 5,000.
Do you teach the waitresses and porters that?
What's that?
Well, you buy. That's what you buy.
Well, let's see. He's talking to her more now, so.
Big Leslie too.
How much does Yosh weigh right now?
You don't have to. You can buy him for 5. The buy-in's 5, but you have the option on your third buy-in to buy him for
Okay.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting.
2 5s and a 10.
That is interesting. Okay. So what we're getting is that if you go down to felt twice, the first time you have to rebuy for 5,000. The second time you have to rebuy for 5,000. But the third time you can rebuy for 10,000. Again, I think they're just kind of a little making it up as they go along, but it's interesting.
And of course,
It's their
as we
game.
saw, that is the maximum you are allowed to buy. You
Right.
can buy in
Yeah,
a shorter
I'm sure
buy
you can
than
short
that.
buy.
Right, but short buy, quote unquote, 3,500 is what we just said.
Right.
For a lot of us, that's not a short buy.
Right.
I wasn't playing behind.
Now, I think you also don't necessarily have to go down to felt. I think once you drop below 2,500, you can bring it up to 5.
Right.
Now you drop below 2,500 again, you can bring it up to 5. And then I think the third time, I believe, you can bring it up to 10. I think that's what they're saying.
That sounds right.
So that's how we're handling our restricted buying game tonight.
Now, if you still have bullets and you lose the 10, can you buy 20?
Well, that'd be something. That would be something.
You could move seats, so. You know what I'm saying?
Small
If you
blinds,
could
sir.
move seats, I could understand your point. Or if you were a bad player, I could.
And again, if we were cut off in the beginning of the show, we were talking, Roger, about how people have seen you on some late-night comedy shows before. They can check you out.
Some of my films are on late night, up all night, Rondo with the USA Channel for those with the insomnia, and foreign countries I'm real big. Comedy, BET, Def Jam, Showtime at the Apollo, and P. Diddy's Bad Boys of Comedy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know everything comes from you.
Well, it took her a long time to get into the game.
Yeah, she's made it 500. Well, she's picked up pocket jacks, so she's raised 400, made it 500 straight.
And she just sat down. That makes it look good.
Yeah.
Regardless, this is a good hand for her image. And she scoops it.
I'm the only one stuck.
There's a good shot of 2 there in seat 1.
And she showed it. Not a good move. Keep 'em guessing, honey.
Straddle's advantage or this guy?
Talking about the cards.
You're stuck on that one, aren't you?
What? That's what I'm trying to say. Everybody was thinking of that.
It's not that big.
Of course, you can follow a live thread on 2plus2 by going to 2plus2.com, spelled out. Click on forums, click on World Poker Tour and other televised tournaments, the Live at the Bike thread. And you can also email us at live@thebike.com.
Now, there's a good question I wanted to ask. Can you straddle the big blind?
I would assume that you could. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to.
Can you sleep a blind?
Can you what a blind?
Sleep a blind.
Sleep a blind?
Yes.
Now, that is a term that I'm really not familiar with. Explain
Okay.
that one to us.
That is that you cannot be in the position to go over the blind, meaning the first one under the gun, but any place on the table you can put up a double amount, which would be a bigger override of the
No,
blind.
they don't allow that in this
And then if
casino.
everyone passes to you, that becomes a live blind.
They do not
They
allow
don't allow
that.
that. Those are the old Lake Tahoe days.
Okay.
I'm dating myself, folks.
Now, Ali has led here with King 10. And Freddie Farzad, he's going to call with an open-ended straight draw. Freddie Bonyadi's going to call with the open-ended straight draw.
Very dangerous move with two spades that you might catch yourself straight and get counterfeited.
Hey, we say that all the time. It's like you've been in here in the booth before. Now, look at this. Has Ali checked here from up front? Yeah, I think he's checked with the King 10, and Freddie has bet here. So Ali fired with top pair. He got called. Now let's see if he's trying to get tricky and check raise here, or he was just concerned that Freddie was calling maybe with a better hand. His bet there on the flop. It's a $1,200 bet here in the turn. Freddie is still only on a draw. Open-ended straight draw. His overcard, you could hit a jack. That would be good as well. And he's betting about the size of the pot. And it looks like Ali's going to make the call. So we've got about a $4,000 pot. And here we go to the river. And the river is a jack, and Freddie backs into top pair. Now this might be one.
The brave.
If he thinks he can win in a showdown, he might check right behind him here,
I think he
Roger.
will, too. Check,
And it
check.
does. It goes check, check.
It's a good call. That's
Yeah.
exactly what's going to happen here.
Yeah. Obviously, Freddie was trying to buy the pot there on the turn.
That
with
was
the
a classic
semi-bluff.
semi-bluff.
Yep. He checks it down, and he takes it down. Now, if he had missed the straight, he probably would add to a fired again on the river.
You would have had no choice and either that or
Yeah.
surrender the pot.
Right.
You couldn't win in a showdown.
Now, who do you think shows some of the most promise in terms of poker play of all the celebrities that you've trained? Now, of course, Tobey Maguire has had a lot of success over the last couple of years. They say Ben Affleck's turned into a better player. Who do you think some of the best celebrity poker players are right now?
I would have to say that I think Toby's got the best working knowledge of the game. He has the best working knowledge and probably the most insight. He probably has the one deficit of not playing as well from behind as he does when he's in front.
Oh. Freddie's going to bring this one in for a raise here in the cutoff. He makes it 350 to go. We can't quite see what he has. And Yosh makes the call. We can't see what he has. Now, Freddie's got pocket fours. Yosh is called in between, and Ken Berg is going to call with Jack-9 of spades. Yosh has ace-6 offsuit. Surprising
He's got the
call.
ace-10.
And Gary's got ace-10 in the
Gary's got
blind.
the ace-10.
So we've got a $1,500 pot here. Look at this. Ken picks up a flush draw on the small blind. That's not necessarily a bad flop for pocket fours. 3-3-5.
The over-under pair.
Yeah. See how this one is played. Now, Ken could really represent here if he check raised.
16.
And Freddie's going to bet 16. About the size of the pot here, Roger.
That's a good bet, and I think it should probably take it.
Well, here we go with the restricted sense of this game. Ken is going to check raise all in, but he might not have enough where Freddie
He
might
can
think
get
he's
him
only
out,
on a flush
exactly.
draw and might call him anyways.
He could, but he's making a good play.
Yeah. The thing with Ken, though, is that with his overcards and the flush draw, he's actually favored to win with 2 cards to come. Pocket fours is an underdog. They're winning right now, but they are an underdog with 2 cards to come.
And it's a very, very tough call for Freddie to make because he can't win any more money.
Right, yeah, that's it.
He's exposing whatever chips he has right now that his 2 fours are going to be the best at the end.
Yeah. And again, I think you have to look at it if you're Freddie. If the guy does have a flush draw, he most likely has overcards to my 4s.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't be a favorite here to win the hand. Again, Ken is actually
Freddie's
a
got to
favorite.
let this one go. I think Kenny made a good play.
Well, it's 4,000 more, so let's do the math here. With the call, the pot was then about 4,700 and then 4,000 more. It's about an $8,700 pot, 4,000 for Freddie to call. So he's getting about 2 to 1. So now if he figures that he's not 2 to 1, he makes the call. So here we go. The turn is a king. He's dodged 1 card. And the river is a spade, and Ken gets there, and he's going to take it down. He's going to take down over a $10,000 pot.
The mathematics are excellent. He was a favorite with the flush draw and 2 overcoats.
Right. But I think that Freddie, now in retrospect, I think that, if you put Ken on a range of hands, the pot was laying him 2 to 1. So if Ken was going to make that move with a flush draw with overcards, it might have been right for him to call because he wasn't that much of an underdog, 2 to 1 underdog. So obviously no right answer, definitely in
There
poker.
never is. That's what makes this such an interesting game to watch and play.
Ken takes down a pretty big pot there. Again, 50.
Yosh reloaded.
Looks that way. Did Yosh? He must have. Oh, he bought 10,000 more. So we see our first double reload. There you go. He must have bought already before the show started.
Sure did.
And he's up to 10,000.
He doesn't
now.
like to play a short stack. I know that.
And this pot was limped around.
Look at
here.
this one, king queen, and we've got a king queen.
Yep.
Top 2.
Gary has flopped top 2 here. He's checked
And
it
he's
from up
checking
front.
it. He's going to set a trap for a rabbit and catch a bear if he keeps making plays like that.
Well, Ali has bet here with bottom pair, and Ken's got a flush draw. Now you got to figure you
gotta
have
come
to
over the
check
top.
raise.
You
Yeah.
got to come over the top now. You got to make your play.
And he does. He's going to check raise. Looks like he's making it 2,000 more. Ali quickly folds.
Yeah, he'll take it here.
And now with Ken having some chips,
He's done.
if Ken only
Gamble's
had
off.
1,000 left, he could
Go.
put 1,000 in here to make the flush. But
He's not going to call. He can't call.
I can't imagine that he's going to call here. He's got 6,000 left. And if he does call, he would need to go over the top all in, and Gary would quickly call, obviously, so he could see both cards. Again, this is a different type of game, restricted by no limit. A lot of the math comes into the game.
It certainly does. It has a lot of similarities to a tournament situation.
Yeah, with pot odds and such.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I look 5,000, I can buy.
But I can't see Kenny making anything other than a bad call here if he does.
Oh, 5, 5, and 10.
Third buy in this thing.
You just won a pot, Kenny. Let this one go.
But you can add on 5,000 when you get down to 25.
And he's actually drawing slimmer than he thinks because Gary could catch a king or a queen, and his flush would be over.
I got a diamond flush on mine.
Telling him what he's got.
Yeah.
He's got to
And
let it go.
yeah, he makes a nice fold. One of the other interesting things, Roger, about this game is not only are there not a lot of experienced cash no limit game players. Now these players play high limit cash games. Well, normally they play mixed games, and I know here at the bike, no limit is not a part of that mix. Now, Barry Greenstein was talking about that they actually have it a part of their mix. But these players are not necessarily experienced with no limit cash games. And I got to tell you, I guarantee they are not experienced playing a restricted buy-in no limit game.
Right.
It could be the first time for some of them here at the table. I mean, that is a game that really is kind of unique to what we're doing here
Well,
tonight.
the wrinkles that you've mentioned alone, they've
Yeah.
put a whole lot of different strategy into it.
Right.
Book can only show you fundamentals.
I mean, you almost think that you take someone who's got a lot of experience in the 200 or the 3 to 5 game, and you put them in this game, and they know more of the quirks of the game than some of these high stakes cash game players, just because they have so much more experience with the game.
Right.
Now Gary brought this one in with 3-4 off suit, and 2 made the call with King Deuce of
And
diamonds.
look what he hits here, bottom 2.
Wow. Doesn't look like he's going to slow play it this time.
Well,
He's going to bet.
yeah, no action here.
I think it always seems a little fishy when you check behind someone when your head's up, and he definitely didn't want to see a jack or something else there come on the
No,
turn.
he sure didn't.
Yeah. There you go.
So, pardon my ignorance, but we all have shuffling machines all over the club now?
Yes, we do.
Tremendous.
Yes, we do.
Tremendous.
They don't use them in the tournaments, but
They don't use them in tournaments?
no,
Okay.
no, they do hand shuffle in the tournaments, but You know, I mean, it's better for the casino, better for the players, more hands per hour. You know,
Sure.
better on both ways. Limp here.
I see 3. It's the 4.
Oh, got four-way action here. Limped
I
in.
see the 4th hand. There it is.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And the flop comes 7, Queen, Jack. And Gary gets checked to him, and he's going to bet with middle pair there. Why not in position? Look at this. Yosh has top pair, and he's going to check raise it with the Queen 9.
12 to go.
He raises it to 1,500 straight, so $1,200 more with the Queen 9.
Gary can't like that.
No.
All right, let you do that.
I don't mind the play there by Gary. It gets checked to you, and you have second pair. Why not bet there in
Sure,
position?
take a shot at it.
It's
Yeah.
not like you.
It's
It's not
just
like.
defend. You
It's
know,
not
the
like
only
you to
time I
get
don't have it
forward.
is when you raise me. I've got it every other time.
Josh, how are we doing the jackpot money? I used it.
Yeah. Everybody's got to throw you $5.
Okay.
You got $5. You got $5,
I
Kenny?
gotta make a living on the line.
Give him 20 back.
What are we doing?
What do you need?
Okay.
So again, we want to welcome everyone
What do we need?
to Live at the Bike. This is Poker Blues Whale Night. You can go to pokerblue.net, check out their website. We're going to get another chip count. Now, Yosh, we're going to explain this again if we can keep this chip count up here. Yosh has got 12,000. Obviously, he's in the lead, but he has actually rebought 3 times. When you get to your third rebuy in this game, you can rebuy up to 10,000. The first 2, when you get under 2,500, you can only bring it up to 5,000. But the third, you can bring it up to 10, and that's what he's done. And
You
Ken,
can bring it up to 10 or buy an actual 10.
actually, I think it's bring it up to
Bring
10.
it up to 10,
Yeah.
I see.
Not bad, huh?
Bring it up to 10.
It's not due 7.
And this pot is limped around here.
Check.
Jack 9-3, Rainbow.
Let's see, 1-9.
2 is going to bet here.
Yosh with the Dolly Parton.
2's going to bet with bottom pair in position. And she's going to take it down.
Sure, Yosh just won a pot. He's not ready to gamble. Not with that rag.
Ever since you cleaned my window, it's not going so good.
So it was interesting that what you were saying, and I think a lot of people don't realize it that have only been in poker the last few years, that even in a tournament setting, No Limit Hold'em was not a big game. There were only a couple tournaments that were No Limit Hold'em,
There
right?
used to just be 2 tournaments a year.
My window and clean my clock.
There was the Super Bowl of poker, or the Slim Tournament, which was roughly after the football season.
Uh-huh.
And then in the springtime, they had the World Series of Poker, which was at Binions, which was roughly the start of baseball season.
Right.
And that's all we had. 2 tournaments a year.
So everything else in terms of tournaments were all Limit Hold'em tournaments? If
There
there were,
really
or
were.
tournaments really weren't in that
There
big.
really weren't any tournaments.
right.
There really weren't even the club holding any tournaments. That didn't get popular until years later.
Jack 8 here on the flop, and Gary has a jack. And look at this, Ken has bet into this flop, and Gary's got
With
trip jacks.
absolutely nothing.
Yeah, let's see what he does.
He's going to probably smooth call here.
That's what he does.
He's trying to set a trap.
Now the turn is a queen.
He's going to go check bet. I don't think Kenny wants to go any further with this.
Well, it just keeps getting worse and worse.
Oh, he is going to make a play here.
Slight dog anyway.
Maybe it's just a little play acting.
No, he's gonna
I think
check
it's a little
it.
play acting.
Oh, look at this,
Jack
Jack 4 checks right behind him. And the river is an 8, so the full house has been made. And he might, he was trying to induce a bluff there, Roger, but he's not gonna get it. And
Something maybe he might call, but there's nothing he can call with.
he bets 100 there. Yeah, Ken's not gonna call.
We're pretty well maxed out on the hand.
Yeah. Well,
We got one bluff out of Kenny and a couple of checks.
The other thing that we talk about a lot on the show now, in this particular case, your heads up, I think it's okay to slow play in that spot, but especially in restricted buy and no limit games, we really think overseeing the play over the last 1,500 hours in the last 8 months is betting your hand is the right strategy. Even if you flop monsters, Roger, like nut flushes and trips,
Right.
you bet because there's a card that can come that can kill all your action.
Absolutely. And Kenny making basically a stone bluff there isn't a bad play. 2 jacks came on the flop. He was a blind hand. It's possible he could have had jack anything.
Right.
He just happened to run into somebody that actually had a jack.
Yeah. Two's got pocket tens, and she raised pre-flop, and she's hit a set of tens, top set. Actually, she limped. Excuse me, she limped. It got limped around, and she checked the flop. And the turn is a deuce, and Gary's going to bet here with ace high, thinking his ace high might be good, and two's in a great spot here. And did she just smooth call? She's just going to throw in what looks like a crying acting call.
Looks like a crying acting call, but the problem is it doesn't happen to be a really good draw that she can represent that she has.
Now Gary
so
has
just
checked.
Has to flat out play it. This is got to go bet fold.
And two bets here. She's going to bet $1,000.
13.
It's a $1,300 bet, actually. The pot is about, I want to say, $2,600, and it's $1,300 to call. And look at this. Gary's saying, how much more do you have? I don't believe you. I think you might be bluffing. But like you said, Roger, there really wasn't a draw that you can put her on.
No, there really wasn't.
She could have had 8-9, I guess, and not gotten there. No, he's not going to call with ace high.
All the actors aren't in Hollywood, folks.
Yeah. And two is going to take it down. She actually had limped pre-flop and won a great spot to hit top set there.
Unfortunately, nobody had anything to play with.
Yeah. We're going to see a pot here limped around.
Pocket fives, 8-4, 2 jacks.
Yeah, Ali did not raise with pocket jacks. Well, he was in the big blind, so he chose not to raise it. And
That's not a bad play.
He's bet
2 jacks up front can be a very dangerous hand.
He's bet 400. Yosha's called with pocket fives, and Joe has called with gut shot straight draw. Oh, actually, he's got top pair 4-8. The turn's a deuce. Let's see if Joe can get smart enough to get away from this one.
Ali's got to make his play here. You can't get cute with this any longer.
Well, he did bet out in the flop. And remember, it is an unraised pot.
He doesn't want any more action at this stage.
And he's going to bet
16.
about the size of the pot. He bet 1,600.
That should be a prohibitive bet. That should work.
Yosh folds. And look at this, though. Joe calls with the gut shot and top
straight.
pair.
That is Action Joe.
Yep, Action Joe.
He
Let's
just
see the
lived up to
river.
his name.
The river is a 9. Yosh would have made the straight, and that, Ali can't like that card, and it just gets checked down.
Yeah.
And Ali's going to take it down, and we do question Joe's play. He is an action player, and he has made some questionable calls tonight. And Ali takes it down there. Again, Yosh would have made the straight there with pocket fives.
He made a good laydown. As you mentioned, he bet about the size of the pot. 2-to-1 odds on a straight draw was not a good enough price.
Look at this, Roger. They're already giving you flack. I have to take this all the time on the thread. Kev Matt says, Up All Night, that show was off the air 10 years ago. I don't know which one he's referring to.
Also, hasn't Ben Affleck dropped out of poker now that he's involved with Jennifer Garner? He
Well, I
kind
think
of retired that name from the poker celebrity list.
Well, that might be the case with Ben Affleck.
Well, I'm glad to see that somebody was watching Up All Night when it was on 10 years ago. That's a dedicated viewer. Why don't you call the station and tell them to bring it back?
What channel was that on?
That was on the USA channel.
USA?
Yeah. Occasionally they show them on the
Comedy
regionals.
Central or something?
No, they
Or
show
repeats?
just the regulars on the regionals.
Oh, okay. So you've been kind of in LA, you've been living in the LA area for a long time?
A long time, between here and New York.
Yeah. Well, LA really is the place to be for poker.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It definitely is. I would say it's second to none right now.
Kenny Berg, kid's got pocket rockets. He raised it up and he didn't get any action.
And he got nothing with him. That's when they stand up the best.
Yep. Didn't get any action. Everyone folds. Take a look at those poker blue girls there. It's,
Oh, that's what those are. Those are the poker blue girls.
Somebody said on the thread last night that Poker Blue will actually send those girls to your house, but you have to play about 100,000 raked hands first.
I
to get
see.
them.
Okay. Nobody draws for free.
5.
Seat 1 here has raised. She's going to take it down.
You were the big blind. Yeah, because Fred had the chip out.
So again, we're playing 6 or 7 handed here. A little bit short. Restricted buy-in, 5,100 no-limit game. White chips are $100 chips.
For those of you that are superstitious players out there, Gary has just gotten on the phone. That's never a good sign.
Well, it's actually not necessarily allowed in this game either, and Donna will actually ask him to.
Oh boy,
turn
if
the
I had
phone
my
off.
way, I'd give a phone to every one of them. Always bad luck.
Well, he doesn't have anything to call here.
Hang up and gamble.
Oh, he does. He's going to call a 10-3 suited. Wow.
That's a typical telephone play right there,
Yeah.
folks.
2 had raised with King Jack, got called in a couple of spots, and Freddie Bignati, he's flopped top 2 pair there in seat 2. 2's going to continue with the betting lead. She's going to bet 500. She's got
He's got the queen draw, basically.
gut shot there. And let's see what Freddie does here. Now remember, we said playing this game straightforward. He may raise here with the top 2.
I don't
He is
see
gonna
how he
raise.
can't raise with that flush draw.
Right.
15 more.
And he makes it 1,500 to go. And let's see what 2 does. I can't imagine.
Two's
she's
got to
gonna
go
make
on
the call
vacation here.
Can't
He's got to
imagine.
let this go. That's always a good play. When you take a pot like that in a situation where there are a number of different hands that you can be beaten by as soon as you see the next card, it's a good time to take the pot right there.
I like the raise, obviously, with ace
I
10
do
there.
too.
I just think a lot of
A
people
heart
slow
hurts
playing.
you, any
Right.
picture hurts you. There's
Yeah.
very few cards you can come on 4th or 5th Street that don't damage your hand or your ability to bet.
Right. And it's not necessarily that someone else might be on a flush draw, but it could kill your action if 2 had a high ace there, like ace king or ace queen, if a third heart came and she thought you might be on a flush draw, or if some sort of straight card came and she's
Sure.
like, well, now I'm going to throw it away because maybe you made the straight.
Sure. Any
You know.
picture or any heart
Right.
cripples your hand as far as what you could be against.
Right.
So it's a good time to take the bet right there.
That one got folded around there.
These rambunctious, rebellious little poker players, aren't they? Give us any rule, we'll break it.
Yeah, it looks like somebody was still using electronic equipment underneath the table. Slapped their hand there, Roger.
4.
Okay, for you people that are typing in nasty things on the internet, I'm waiting for the remarks about the low-cut top from 2.
Everyone's just been thinking about it.
Brilliant camera work, folks. Keep that up. We like that. Keep the cards and letters coming at home, too.
There's a raise here. King 10 against King Queen.
7.
And 2 has checked, and Freddie bets 700, and 2 makes the call with King 10. Wow. Oh, the turn's a king. Both players have trip kings. It's a third heart, though. Now, 2 doesn't have much more. We could easily see all the money go in. Look at this, though.
Yeah, the
King
money's all
Queen
going in
checks
here.
right behind him. And
The heart scared him.
let's
Had
see.
to be. I don't know. I would have put the last of the chips in there. I
Oh,
would
and
have
she
to see.
checks again here. 9 on the river. 9 of clubs on the river. Wow, I can't believe none of the money's gone in with both players have 3 kings. 9 of clubs on the river again. And Freddie, this time, he's going to bet here.
And she has to call. Oh, how much does she have?
He bets 15. She looks like she might have about 4,000
Oh,
behind.
no.
She might just smooth call here. We'll
I
see.
can't see her throwing it away. But she did check twice. That shows me a lot. Maybe she smelled the trap.
Let's
She's
see
going
what
to
she
pay it
does.
off.
Well, tough to get away from 3 at a time.
Sure
here,
is.
Heads up. She could also check raise here too, but I don't see her doing that. Oh, we're getting word that Kenna James is going to play in this game here, Roger, in 10
Okay.
minutes, so that's great.
Kenna James.
The pot is about, I want to say about $3,200. Actually, yeah, $3,200, and it's $1,500 for 2 to call here. And look at this, she does check raise. She's going to check raise with the 3 kings.
That gave her her only chance to win.
Well, I cannot see Freddie. I can't see Freddie making the laydown here. Again, it's only, she's all in, and she's only check raising it. Well, she's check raising it 2,000 more. So
Does she have anything left?
No, she doesn't.
She went all in.
Yeah, the pot is now, I want to say, about 8,000, 2,000 for Freddie to call, and I just don't see him. I don't see him mucking this hand for 2,000 more. There's 4,000 in the pot there.
She did check twice. I think he might smell a trap.
Well,
That would. She gave herself the only chance to win.
oh,
But
she does have a little
more.
bit.
I thought she had
well,
a
it's
little
only
more.
about maybe $400.
That should have all gone in
Yeah.
if she was going to make that play.
Yeah.
If
Well, he's gonna make the call.
Yeah, he's going to pay it. All right.
The King Queen is going to play here, and he takes it down. $8,000 or $9,000 pot there. The way that 2 played that, it was an interesting hand. The guy with the King Queen check behind there on the turn. I mean, the last thing that I want to do with King Queen there on the turn. I mean, maybe he thought that he was going to that she was trying to check raise him with the flush draw. But the reason why I don't like to check the turn there with 3 hearts is what if a 4th heart peels off? Now, not only do you not know where your hand is, but you're not going to win any more money with your trip kings if you do have the best hand. But he chose to check it there in position.
They both played that hand a little strange.
Yeah.
Here's pocket kings for somebody. I can't figure it out.
Seat 4, Kenny Berg over there.
Kenny Berg with pocket kings. And an ace 10 for somebody.
So Ken made it 400 there to go.
Am I getting heckled here again?
They're just saying that they can't find you on IMDb.
Check RODD for the last name. The people
Ah.
looking on IMDb. Roger Rod. You'll find plenty.
There you go. Jack 8-10 here. Kenny Berg is still in the lead with pocket kings.
800.
That's 800. 800 into about a $1,200 pot. Freddie Bagnotti, he's got a decision to make, and he makes the check call with ace-10. Wow. And he's in big trouble here. He has outs. The turn is a club. Let's
Strange call.
Let's see if Kenny continues to fire through here.
He's got to fire. He can't afford to give a card here.
Well, he's got to figure out, I mean, what could Freddie have
called with
on the flop? And look at this, he checks
Check,
behind
check.
him. Wow.
It's a very strange play.
Well, the river's a 6. Kings are good
Doesn't
here.
hurt him.
Now, he better call a big bet here on the river, though, because he's induced a bluff.
He certainly
Roger.
has. That's a very good point.
Yeah. He can't lay it down here on the river if Freddie fires here. The pot is $3,200. Kenny Berg has the best hands.
He's betting 15.
Yeah, Freddie's going to bet half the size of the pot, and I think this is a quick call
He's
for
going to
Ken.
get called. Kenny is wedded to those kings. But he played them to lose the least, it looked like.
He played it pretty conservatively.
Yes, he did.
He gets called.
10.
And Pocket Kings is going to win. And it looked like Freddie knew that he was beat once he got called.
Oh, sure he did.
Yeah. There's no way that ace-10 was good, he didn't think.
We have a live straddle. Thank you, Kenny.
Is that Gilbert Godfrey up all night?
Live straddle.
Correct.
Yeah, he was the host of that show.
I remember Rhonda Shearer as a much better-looking hostess. And a decent comic, too. I worked with her a few times.
Yup, Yosh brought that one in for a raise, and he's going to take it down. Well, now we actually have some chips on the table here.
Yes,
Looks
we
like
do.
Kenny Berg's got some chips.
And
Yosh
we've
has got
also
some
loosened
chips.
up a few players, too.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, of all the players I've seen at this table, there's nobody whose game I would rate as more conservative or straightforward than Kenny's.
Now, you've seen Kenny play a lot?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
And I think that he's the person that's least likely to give up any chips here on a gamble.
Well, it's funny. Barry said that Kenny likes to play a trap game. Now, you're saying that he just plays it really conservatively.
He waits for somebody else to make a mistake. I guess
Yeah.
we're both saying the same thing in a
Yeah.
different way. He waits for someone else to get goofy, and he'll just show him a pair of kings like he just did.
Yeah.
Somebody betting a second pair of...
So would you consider him a little bit passive then, though?
I don't consider him a wildly aggressive player. When he made the play that he did with the flush draw, that's one of the more aggressive plays I've seen him make. And I was fairly impressed with it, actually. He doesn't usually go out like that. Tough player, no doubt.
Again, that might have something to do with the fact that the way this game is set up, it really probably was the correct play to make. Because not only when you check raise all in or you move all in the restricted buy-in game on a draw, you get to see both cards, as opposed to calling and taking one off where you only get to see one card.
Right.
The guy puts a big bet into you. Because you're inherently short chips, you don't have to commit that many chips to see both cards on a draw.
Correct. And you also stand a chance to win the pot.
Right.
Right there.
For a semi-bluff. Right.
You stand a chance to win it right there on the spot.
Now, Ali is raised here. Looks like he's got pocket nines, and a couple people have called here. Gary in the big blind. We can't quite see what he has. Well, he's going to bet.
I think you should invite me in your private game.
14.
He bets 1,400. Again, we're going to have to play his hand in the dark right now.
I'm not real happy with Freddie right now. He took two in that nice-looking view we had out of the game.
Ken mucks. So Ali mucked a pocket nines there on the flop. Gary had ace-10, so he was making a move there with the club draw. Look at that.
Of all the players at the table, I'd rate him as the most aggressive.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Now, have you played in some pretty interesting all-star lineups in terms of celebrities and home poker games?
Not played. The celebrities usually play at a level that I have to respectfully say is over my head as far as money-wise. I would love to have the money to play with them.
Right.
But if I did, they probably wouldn't invite me anyway. They like to play with pretty much water seeking its own level.
Yeah. Do they really play that high? I mean, obviously they can afford it, but they really play that high as beginners
When you make
as well?
$20 million a picture, playing that high to them is not what
Right.
you and I
It's
would
like
call
paying
it.
$20, right?
I couldn't. I don't think I could interest you in a nickel-dime quarter game. So
Right,
we'd
right.
have to kind of
Right.
basically make it out of some kind of a proportion that.
200.
Yosh is going to bet 200 here with bottom pair. Now, Ken Berg, he's going to call with ace-deuce? Is he
I
trying to
can't
set up
figure
a
that
play?
call.
Does he think he has the best hand now? Oh, the turn's a 9, and that gives Yosh a flush draw as well. His hand just keeps getting better. And look at this. Yosh checks behind him. And the river is a deuce. Now, let's see if, Yosh has induced a bluff here.
He certainly has, but
the-
he's only bet 300. We don't have a whole lot at stake here. I think Yosh pays this off.
Well, the only thing, though, is that if you're Kenny, I don't know about that, Roger.
I'm
He's
very
going to lay
surprised.
it down.
You're right.
Well, because if you're thinking of a Ken Berg, who usually plays a pretty straightforward, solid
That's where
game.
your reputation wins you a pot.
I mean, Yosh bet the flop and he got called. So you got to figure, what did Ken call with?
Yeah,
It's very difficult to put him on a hand that does not beat ace-3
good play.
in that spot.
A very good point.
Interesting.
Very good point.
Yeah. So again, Kenna James is going to be coming into this game, which will definitely add some action to the game.
Ken is a fast player.
Yep. Absolutely.
5 players.
We're going to see five-way action here limped around. 10 deuce 10. No one really has any part of this flop.
Well, I can steal this one. I know I can.
So when it's limped around here, it's a $400 pot. Everyone check. The turn's a king.
Kenny had the right idea. He was talking about stealing it. I have for sale on it when it hit him.
He's picked up an open-ended straight draw now,
Yeah.
and he's going to bet.
He's good enough.
Now, Yosh has a flush draw. Now, I would rather see Yosh check raise than call
Which
here.
you just did.
Yeah.
You got your wish.
There you go. Much rather see him check raise than call. You see so many people at the no limit, the low, limit, no limit level that make that kind of amateur mistake by calling. I mean, he's represented a 10 here, even though he just has a flush draw. Obviously, Kenny can't even beat the king, and it'd be difficult for him to chase there with the queen jack with 2 flush draws out there.
This is all for show. Kenny's throwing this hand away.
So he's made it looks like 1,500 more. And I really couldn't imagine that Ken could call this. Of course, because we can see the cards, we know he could go back over the top and Yosh would have to fold. But
That's a good point, but I don't think Kenny makes that kind of play too often.
yeah,
And that would be the only way he could take this.
yeah.
A call here would not be a good play.
And if the ace of diamonds comes, if he calls, or the 9 of diamonds comes, his hand is no good.
Yeah, he's done.
What are you drawing? Oh, you got queen jack in the home?
Yeah.
That's queen jack?
Yosh calls his hand now.
Let's see the rabbit.
And and look at this. Look at the river cam. We can see it. Guess what it was,
9 of
Roger?
diamonds.
The 9 of diamonds. So it would have been disastrous for Ken.
Absolutely.
It would have been absolutely disastrous. He would have made his straight.
He would have made the straight while Yosh made the flush.
Right.
That's what we talk about so often.
Chasing straight draws with a cut with 2 flush out
That's
there.
like when you're chasing a flush draw with a pair on the board.
Maybe he's drawing dead.
Well, Ali, he's picked up pocket aces immediately in the big blind. Seat 9.
Interesting how this will play out.
You have to wait to go see what you
400 more?
He's going to make it 400 more to go.
Size of the pot. Looking for customers, basically.
Wow, 2's going to call. She limped in with 9-5
2 is back.
suited.
2 is back.
This is, again, in early position in a no-limit game, 9-5 suited. Now she's called a raise out of the blind. Queen 8-5.
You hit absolutely nothing.
King Queen 8 on the flop. And I assume that Ali is going to continue to bet here.
He would have to with those 2 paints out there. He has to protect the draws. Had to protect against the draws there. You can't get too cute.
And he takes
Any
it down.
picture kills your hand.
We got more discussion about your late night comedy.
All right, what did we get?
So Rhonda Shear, and Kev Mass says, and Night Flight was much better late night weekend show on USA than Up All Night. Now, I'm not familiar with any of those shows, but maybe you can fill in.
Well, whoever's writing on these has got a whole lot of time on their hands or some insomnia. Not only that, you kind of watched Rhonda to look at Rhonda.
Yeah. Seat 2 here has raised. King Queen offsuit. Freddie Bognati raised with the King Queen. Gary called with Ace Jack, and 2's in there with 7-10. Gary's flopped
Gary
the
with
top
the Ace
hand.
Jack. And here's our Ace Jack hand that we were talking about. Is he up front?
10-6. He's actually in position.
He's in position.
So-
That makes it a whole lot safer to play.
Right. Now, Farzad,
9.
Freddie, Bognati, he's going to bet.
And a smooth call. Interesting.
Yeah, $900 bet there with the King Queen. He's got a gut shot to the Jack, backdoor club draw with the King, and we're heads up. Well,
There's
now
your
he's
backdoor
picked up
club
the
draw.
nut flush draw. And look at this. Gary has the Jack of clubs as well. He's going to check. And Gary checks right behind him. The
Thinking the
reverse free
Jack of
card.
clubs is good.
Oh,
There it
and
is.
the club
we have
comes
a pot,
on
folks.
the river.
This will be interesting. We
Yep.
have a pot.
The pot is 2,800 right now. You're looking at club high flush against Jack high flush. It's a $2,800 pot.
About 1,500 looks like the bet.
See how much he bets here.
Looks like 17.
Always has something to say.
1,600. And if he makes this call, It's going to be about a $6,000 pot if he makes the call.
Not impossible that he wouldn't raise here. Not likely, but not impossible. Gary's very aggressive. Just a call.
Well, and he makes the call. I was going to say,
Gary overslept.
I would think that he would be more likely to raise in that spot if he didn't have a club versus when he just has a club. He's just trying to win it there with a call.
Gary plays a pretty wild style. I thought maybe he might want to represent the king.
Yeah.
What'd you win at? Huh? What'd you win?
My favorite hand.
Are you gonna wait for the blind to come around to you, sir?
I won 5,000.
Would you like to be dealt in, or
I only went to eat, you know.
Give me
what's that?
No.
3 hand.
I just sat down to eat.
Hey, Fred. We have a live straddle.
Oh, here we go. We're going to get our first live straddle tonight, Roger. Live straddle there.
Who went over?
Yosh in seat 3.
Yosh, I'm not surprised.
And we get a new player coming into seat 5 as well. And that's Tony in seat 5.
Okay.
He's buying in for the mandatory amount, 5,000.
I'm going to try 45.
Do we know anything about Tony?
Well, we will know shortly.
800.
Gary brought this one in with pocket jacks for 200, doubled the big blind. And Ali on the button in seat 9, he's re-raised to 800 with ace king.
Ace king.
And look at Yosh, he's going to take one off. He's got enough, I guess he figures he has enough money. And Gary pulls the limp re-raise with jacks, and it's a lot.
Pretty much moved in, didn't he?
Yeah, he's pulled the limp re-raise all in.
From here.
And let's see how much more it is. It looks like it's got to be at least 6,000.
He's representing much better than he has.
He's got 2, 4, almost 5. Yeah, that's about 6,000 right there.
He said call.
And Ali's going to call with the ace
My
king.
goodness.
Wow.
My goodness.
And we've got a race situation for about a $13,000 pot. And there's the king.
There's the king.
And Ali has the ace of clubs as well. Gary would need to take a jack on the river. It does not come. Boy, you don't see ace king against a race for $13,000 in real cash every day.
Not too often.
Yeah.
That's a tournament play.
Yeah. Wow.
A very, very aggressive play.
And we talked about Ali being actually a high-limit cash game player. But again, you know, I want to say that it looks like a tournament play to call with ace king in that spot. But look at it from Ali's perspective. He had about 5,000 in front of him. Now, think of yourself in the beginning of a 200 game where you want to build up chips. If you had $200 and somebody pulled the limp raise all in for, say, another $190 or another $180, would you call with the ace king to build your chip stack up? It's a gambling move, obviously, and he chose to take it. I might not have, because I might have been afraid that I was up against aces or kings.
How much you got there? 59?
That's a good point. The other part of that equation is, though, as I mentioned, Ali has to know that Gary is an extremely aggressive player that could make the kind of play that he did.
Yeah.
Even though he was behind, he wasn't as far behind as a lot of other players would have put him making that play.
He might have had
Kenny
something
Bird
like
makes
ace
that
queen
play.
or something
Sure.
like that. Yeah.
Now,
it's
Kenny
different.
Bird makes that play, I think that hand gets thrown away.
Yeah.
He's a lot more likely to have the 2 aces or perhaps the 2 kings, but not
Right.
likely with 2 jacks would Kenny make that play. But that's a good point. When you make it relative to the size of the
Size of the game.
$200, when you
Right.
make it relative that the 200 is basically the 5,000.
Right.
Yosh had 7, 9 out.
It's the same game. It's like we're playing, again, you know, the restricted buy-in version of a no-limit game that a lot of people play at home.
That are playing very commonly in a lot of casinos, too. So that's a very good way of putting it.
Yeah. And again, I think it's a tough play. Like you said, you got to know your player. I mean, I'm not necessarily willing to sit into a 200 game and gamble up and call all in right away with ace king. Not necessarily.
No, I don't think I'd want to.
Right.
But as I said, when you're picking the player,
Right.
that's going to make, I think, what was the determining factor.
Right.
That Gary's an extremely aggressive player.
Not lucky, good.
Looks like I'm getting trashed on my IMDb again. Huh? Somebody's really out to get me tonight. Tell you what, give me your avails. I'll tell you when I'm on stage next and we can have this out in public.
How do you, well, actually, this is actually our good buddy, Kev Math. He starts the thread. He's very important to the show. Nice guy. I've never met him personally, but he's just poking
Where's he from?
chess.
Do we
He's
know?
from Syracuse, where I went to school,
Okay.
actually. Yeah. And I want to ask you a question about comedians, actually, after the hand is over here.
We are here to talk about poker, so we'll get that done first.
Pocket sevens against ace 3 here. And I believe Yosh raised and Ali called. Flop comes 9-6-3. Couple of diamonds.
Ali has lost his mood to gamble right now. You should take this pot easily. He just won a big pot.
Yeah, he's playing well, so why gamble, right?
Exactly, and he just got very healthy off Gary.
So, how do you handle hecklers? First of all, is there such a thing on stage? Do you have common comebacks that are just something that you've written?
Well, you always have to have something in your repertoire, but most of the time, a heckler, if they start the problem, the crowd is already on your side. If you don't
really?
pick on them first,
Oh,
sure,
yeah?
because they are pretty much trying to become the show, and they can easily step into something.
So is it? It's funny because I was watching an old Seinfeld episode. I don't know if you've seen most of the Seinfeld episodes with the heckler one with Kramer's girlfriend, and she said, "Well, I thought it was part of the show that you have hecklers. Do they kick hecklers out right away?
No,
is it part of the show?
That is such a perfection of what every time I have ever been heckled in the 15 years I've been doing it, the heckler always comes up when the show's over and says, "I was only trying to help you out because that really makes the show fun."
Right.
And you're usually thinking, I've been doing this act for years. I just don't remember you being in it.
Yeah. But you do have something in your repertoire to come back at.
Oh, you sure do.
Yeah.
And there are kind of unwritten rules if you want to be a classy comic. You don't ever want to make personal attacks on people. Picking on people's clothes and hairstyles, things that they can change, that's pretty much fair game. But when you start making fun of someone's actual physical deformities, then it's not funny anymore. And folks will have a tendency to turn on you and you ruin the show. Plus, you need to get walked to your car.
Now, look at this chip count here. Yosh, of course, so he had started with 10 about 20 minutes ago, and he built it back up to 6,000 more. I want to say that Gary probably just bought back in for 10,000. He went bust.
I would say
the
so.
second time, and he bought back in.
Now, where did he pick up the 1,000 while we were yakking about me?
Probably 10,000. Yeah, he
Okay.
just rebought. So there you go.
Oh, okay. Well, he had 1,000 left. That's right, because Ali didn't have. He didn't have
right
covered. Right, so he did have that left. Now he was able to buy an entire 10, or he could only bring it to 10.
I think that we're.
Well, an additional 5. Okay. I see.
Maybe he only
because Ali didn't have anywhere near what he had.
Okay, that's what it was.
So
So we're actually getting word that it was only $5,000. It was only his second buy-in,
right.
So it was $5,000. Now 2 bets here with the flush draw on the gut shot. She's going to take it down.
Okay, guys, collection hand.
Yeah, I mean, you would never say he was a top player, but he had some competitiveness. I said he had some competitiveness. But
yeah, in California, he got pretty lucky last day.
the only guy that's getting older and playing better, getting to this day,
We didn't know that.
Roger, I want to appreciate you filling in there for Shirley.
Oh, no problem.
It was a great pleasure, and we're actually going to have Kathy Colbert come in and do the rest of the show with us.
Terrific.
People are familiar with her from Poker Royale and GSN. That was the most
it's
recent
been my pleasure
thing that
working with you.
I think you did an awesome job
Thank
for
you
someone
very
just
much.
to hop in here.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure working with you.
We'll do one more hand here.
Okay.
We got pocket queens there. Gary against Ali with the Jack 9.
Heads up.
And excuse me, it's pocket queens. Wow, 2 people have pocket queens. Ali is not in the hand. Seat 2 and seat 6.
I'm looking at the board.
Yeah,
Okay,
there
it
we
is.
go.
They've updated it now.
Yeah, the flop comes ace 4-3. Now Freddie is going to continue to bet. He raised pre-flop. He bets, and look at this. Gary's going to call with the queens. It's a tough spot there for queens to call against a pre-flop
sure is.
raiser, but he calls. Turn is a 4.
Randy came and made it.
Oh, and it goes check here, and the river's a 4. And now Gary's going to bet from up front after Freddie checked behind him on the turn.
I think Freddie calls here.
Again, we talked about he did induce a bluff by checking the turn.
He sure did.
And I think it's only a $600 bet.
It
here
is
on the
only a
river.
6.
Yeah.
What's the size of the pot, Professor?
That's about half the size of the pot. So Freddie does make
He
the
does
call,
pay
and they're
off.
going to chop it up.
They're going places.
Ladies and ladies. Black queens and red queens. And we're going to chop it up. And that's going to give us a chance to say goodbye to you, Roger. You know,
my pleasure.
More than welcome to stop by anytime. I think you did
Thank you.
an absolutely great job.
pitch.
There you go.
I got out a little early.
I think you did a great job for coming in here spur of the moment for
Thank
5
you very
minutes
much. It
doing
was a real
color.
pleasure working with you and everybody else here.
All right, great.
Okay.
Thanks
I'll see
a
you
lot.
again.
Good luck
Take
with
care.
everything.
60? Oh, 6 players?
2, 4,
Then it's
6, 7.
So that was a
55 deals, 50.
pleasure. Boy, that guy did a great job here for his first time, I'm going to tell you.
No, 50.
And we're going to welcome into the booth Kathy. Push over here a little bit. There we go. Kathy Colbert.
Hello. I guess the pressure's on since Gary did such a good job, huh?
Get that a little bit closer to you. There we go. So how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. What exactly are you doing in town right now? Now I know you had something to do with you've checked out PokerBlue.net, and of course this is the whale game for Poker Blue's site. And
Right. I'm one of the main players on Poker Blue.
Oh, okay.
And just happens that last week I won their free roll tournament, so
okay,
came in to talk to some people about that.
great. So of course tonight we are doing, and I say of course you're just hopping into the game. This is a $5,100 no limit hold'em game. The blinds are $50 and $100, but it's a restricted buy-in game. You only can start with $5,000. So it really is similar to a $200 game. You're getting about 50 times the big blind. You have to really play it with that strategy. After the
Right.
third rebuy, you can bring your stack up to 10,000, but the first couple times you go broke, you can only bring it up to 5,000. The white chips are $100 chips, the yellows are $5 chips, and the blues are $1 chips. And we are heads up. We'll get into this first hand. King Jack against 3-5 offsuit. And it's Joe against Ali. And the flop comes Ace Deuce 3. Ali bets with a pair and a gut shot. And Joe calls with King Jack. Wow, the turn
Yeah,
to
that's
10.
a surprising call.
Well, he is an action player. Now he's picked up a gut shot. And
Yeah.
and he's got a club draw with the jack, and he bets, and Ali quickly calls. And the river is a 6, and Joe makes a backdoor flush. And he's going to bet, and Ali is not going to call there with the 5 of clubs.
Well, they both have a flush there.
Well,
Makes you
let's-
wonder.
Let's see. Oh, he did call. I thought he had folded the hand. And Joe takes down about a $3,000 pot there.
Yeah,
And
they-
Ali looks at his cards, and he's like, how does the guy call me with King Jack on that flop?
I have a feeling they've played together before.
Well,
From the looks of it.
Joe is he's a super, super action player. Of course, if you want to ask Kathy any questions, you can always ask on our forum, 2plus2. Go to 2plus2.com. Click on forums, click on World Poker Tour and other televised tournaments, and we are right there. Official Live the Bike thread for 9/14. You can also email us at live@thebike.com. Kathy, have you played with any of these players that are on the table right now?
I have. I played with Kenny at the World Series.
Yep. Ken Berg there in seat 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
played with Ali, live action. Played many, many years with Gary Pollock. He's a very good friend of mine. We
Yeah.
used to play a lot of no limit together.
Yep. Now, Gary Pollock, of course, he's in seat 6, but he's got up right now. He says he hosts a lot of high-limit home games in the Hollywood area.
Yeah, he was just telling me about that tonight.
Yeah. There's a shot of Kenny Berg, Mr. Kookaroo Chicken.
Kenny's a real gentleman. I actually just maybe a month ago played with him right next to him in the Limit Hold'em tournament,
Yeah.
the World Series. Wonderful man.
I got to tell you, though, from watching the first hour and a half of the show, Freddie Bunyadi in seat 2, he's played the most solid form. Ali's played it pretty tight in seat 9. But Freddie's played pretty straight up. Wow, in seat 5, that's Tony. He's got pocket aces, and he's not going to get any action. Ken Berg looked like he limped in with a suited connector there, and Tony took it down.
Is Tony just new to this game?
Yeah, he just came into the game a couple hands ago. And again, we were talking, Roger and I, about the fact that not only do a lot of high-limit cash game players like these players, they usually play mixed games, they don't have a lot of no-limit cash game experience, but some of them, I mean, most of these guys probably have absolutely no restricted buy-in no-limit cash game experiences, because usually those games are only spread at a lower level. I mean, this is a real rarity to see a $5,000 max buy-in 5,100 no-limit game. Now 2, she's got pocket jacks. And she has smooth called the raise there by Joe.
Just go.
Yeah, it's tough to know where you're at when you raise with 2 jacks and somebody smooth calls behind you.
I think
it's a
that they
scary
know each
feeling.
other. They don't want to play against you, so I think they just checked it down. Oh, maybe not. 2's going to bet. She's going to take it down. I thought they were checking it down. 10-10-8 here.
Yeah, I've played with Joe before.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he played no limit. I've
No,
played
this
a lot
is
of
he's
higher
actually
limit.
he is
games.
actually really new to No Limit. He's only started playing it for the last couple of months. And,
Small, yeah.
Yeah, with that restricted buy-in, it kind of levels the field. You don't have to worry about a real big stack coming in the middle of the action and trying to pick off the shorter stacks.
yeah.
So the cream definitely rises to the top with your restricted buy-in.
And 2 is limped in here in late position with King Queen. And we are going to see a flop here. 4 ways, so it's a $400 pot. Again, the white chips are $100 chips. Flop comes 8-4 deuce, rainbow. And Freddie there in seat 2, he's got bottom 2 pair. And Tony in seat 5, he's bet what looks like a double gutter. 2-4-8 on the board. He has a double gutter. And he takes it down, and actually Freddie had deuce 3. I thought he had deuce 4. I thought it was a little bit strange to fold pair on the flop.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty tight. But he had deuce 3, and he chose to muck. But again, you just wonder, obviously, in a new game, experience has a factor. This really is a game where a lot of these players don't have a lot of experience at it.
Right, and
Restricted buy-in, no limit
They
game.
probably don't have the experience playing against each other, too. That helps a lot when you play with the same players quite a bit. You know their strategies and their personalities. It
Well,
definitely
I mean,
helps.
some of these players have played with each other a lot. Yosh in the high limit game with Kenny Berg. They play with a lot. Now, they don't necessarily play with Joe and 2, though. I don't think they've ever played with them. So it's a good mix tonight. We've got a raise there by Ace-Jack by Yosh, and a call, Gary with the 5-6 offsuit. Flop comes Queen 8-3, a couple of diamonds.
6.
Yosh is going to bet in position, and he's going to take it down.
Gary's definitely a dangerous player. He's one that is willing to, call a raise with any 2 cards. So it's real tough to put him on a hand. I've seen him win a lot of pots with deuce 4.
Now, Kathy, was that the first time that we've seen you on television in terms of poker with the Poker Royale thing, or had you been featured on other shows before?
I've never been featured on a game show network or anything like
Oh,
that
okay.
before. I've been at final tables in some of the tournaments before,
Uh-huh.
but nothing structured like that before. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah? Well,
Yeah.
we just got word that Kenna James is coming into this game in a couple minutes, so
I heard
that
that
would be a
too.
ball.
Yeah, definitely livens things up.
Yes, it does. We're heads up here. Jack 8 of hearts against Ace 3. And I believe that Tony brought this one in with the Jack 8 on the button. And he bets when it gets checked to him. He hits a pair and he's going to take it down. Well, Kenna, I mean, obviously, what a personality, what a great poker player. Although he admits, and we've seen him play in cash games, that his cash game play in a no-limit game can sometimes be a little suspect. And I love the guy, and he'll totally admit it, that he doesn't necessarily have the discipline and the mechanics to
Right.
play
It's
no-limit
like
cash games.
playing 2 totally different games,
Yeah.
playing cash games and playing tournaments.
Mhm.
In these cash games, you know that at any point you go broke. If you have the money, you can rebuy and get your money back. But you're definitely going to play a little bit slower in a tournament, because once you're out, you're out. And that's a bad feeling.
4 players in here. Freddie in C2 chose to limp in with pocket 10s in late position. And so he has an overpair.
300.
And look at this, 2 is going to throw out a bluff. She bets 300 here, figuring maybe the flop didn't hit anybody. Let's see what Freddie does in C2. He's going to pop it up.
That's a tough bluff when it's four-handed. Like
Yeah. I mean, you might try to do that heads up, right? But
Right. You don't see a four-handed flop very often in no limit.
that 2's going to muck. Now, what ended up happening with the results of that? That show is over, right? Now, is that
is.
female card players against? It was comedians against pros, and then
Right.
females and males. Female comedians against
No, that
female.
was just one of the lineups for one of the weeks.
okay.
I think it was a 12 or 14 episode series.
Uh-huh.
And I don't believe they've aired the final 2 or 3, so I don't know that I should say.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. I played as well as I could. That's
Yeah.
all I'll say.
You were in the same episode with, say, Linda Johnson, which was one of the female
yeah,
pros,
it was
right?
Linda Johnson and I and
Yeah.
Connie Kim.
Connie Kim.
And the men were Robert Williamson, David Williams, and Phil Lack.
Oh, cool. Three-way action here. Seat 6. In position. Gary, he's got ace rag, so he has the best hand right now. But he gets checked around. He does not bet in position with ace 7 there.
He'll bet it this time.
But look at this. Tony, he flopped a set of 5s. And it like Gary knew, he didn't bet the flop. And that's incredible. But look at this. Now Tony bets the turn, and now Gary raises, and he's in a world of hurt. And he is actually drawing dead. So Tony has bet in with the set. Gary raises with the ace. So Gary was slow playing the ace on the flop. Little did he know that the guy flopped a set right to his right. And he gets his information. Tony re-raises.
Yeah,
Gary.
he could have gotten the same information on the flop, too,
Yeah.
if he'd wanted to. It might have been cheaper to get it on the flop rather than on the turn.
There you go. He makes a good laydown.
Sure did.
Thank you very much, sir.
Now, has Tony ever played in this game before?
This game is so unique. You're talking about in Poker Blues Whale game or this
Yeah.
specific game?
In
Tony
this-
does play with these players a
Okay.
lot, so he doesn't, yeah. Again, actually, these players play a ton of hours together with the exception of Seat 7 and Seat 8. But normally it's not in this game or in the structure.
Yes, sir.
So it's always interesting to see them adjust. Well, we got Ace King over there by Ali. He's in the small blind. And look at this. He did not raise. I think he just completed. It's heads up between the blinds, is it? Yeah, heads up between the blinds. Ali did not raise in the small blind with Ace King. And now he picks up a pair, but Yosh has King 7 with the open-ended straight draw.
Yes, sir.
Ali bets 400, and Yosh just smooth calls there with King 7.
And that's what Ali wanted when he just moved.
Oh,
on
and the
hand.
river is an ace, and Ali picks up top 2 pair. Bit of an action killer. But if your head's up, you might see a call there by Yosh.
14.
Yosh might assume that he would have raised with an ace.
Yeah, it's a $1,400 bet here
So
into
they call.
Yosh. And that's a little bit of an overbet of the pot. The pot is now $2,400, $1,400 to call, and Yosh is going to muck.
That's a big laydown.
You think that
What to
Yosh
do?
played it a little bit slow there on the turn as well? He had top pair, open-ended straight draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he thought he was trapping as
That could
well.
be.
Yeah, in position.
5,000.
Well, if Ali is capable of just smooth calling with Ace King heads up, then I'm sure Yosh knows that, and he'll expect anything to turn over.
$350.
Gary's going to bring this one in for $350 with Ace 9.
5 behind.
Yes.
Yosh has got Ace 10, and he's going to make the call. $700 pot. Jack Deuce 10. Yosh checks. Gary checks behind him. Ooh, the turn is a 9. Yosh checks. Gary checks again. Wow, pretty passive. And the river's a 7, brings a 1 card straight to the board. And there was no betting after the flop there. No betting whatsoever.
Oh, we had it wrong actually on video. The Ace 10 wins with the Jack 10 deuce on the flop. So Yosh
Right.
had a pair of 10s rather than.
Right. And Gary had the Ace 9, and
Right.
Yosh just checked it all the way through. See?
At one point, I think it said there was a 9 on the flop.
Jack 10 on the flop. The turn was a 9,
Okay.
and no money went in there. Surprisingly passive.
Yeah, from both players.
Yep. And we're playing kind of short because there's a couple people off the table right now. And they're going to chop the blinds. And again, it's a unique situation, the situation that Gary is at in this no-limit hold'em restricted buying game. He's on the short stack, so you tend to gamble it up a little bit more. That's why I was surprised to see him play that hand so passively last time, because you either want to get to a point where you're okay with chips or get below the point when you can rebuy, right? You don't just want to kind of screw around at that level. If you have enough money to do that, and obviously he does, so...
So they don't allow an add-on. You can't just. You have to actually go broke.
You can. I think you can go below 2,500 and you can bring it up to 5,000 2 times. Then once you go below the third time, you can bring it up to 10,000. So it's an interesting setup here. Wow, 2's got pocket aces in seat 8, and she chose to limp with it, and she did get a raise. She got a raise there by Yosh in the cutoff, and she's going to pull the limp re-raise. Yosh raised it up to 400, and 2 made it 800 to go, so raised it 400 more.
Well, Yosh knows where he's at now.
Well,
if anybody limps and re-raises, it's
usually represents a pretty big hand, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty surefire giveaway.
How about this, though? 8-10-3, Yosh flops a set, and this is where she can get all the money, and he checks behind it. The turn is a 6, and I think all the money's going in here, Kathy.
I think it will, too.
Yep. So that's why Yosh made that call on to try if he could hit the set to make her go broke, and that's what's going to happen here.
I wonder if he's just going to smooth call and let her bet herself all in on the river. He has to raise, though.
Well, she's bet, it looks like, 800 here on the turn.
But I mean, I didn't tell him that.
I guess there's 2 ways, like you said, of playing it. Smooth call here if you think she might just have something like ace-king, but if she has an overpair, you can really get her to go bust.
Why would I stay? 5,000 is a good.
And she only, well, you know what, Kathy? She only has, again, this is restricted, no limit. She only has maybe 1,000 left, 1,300 left.
Yeah, she'll have to put her money in. She's pot committed at this point.
I used to play for days at a time.
It's just real tough to lay down 2 aces.
Well, again,
right
she's
there.
put herself in such a spot where the pot dictates the fact that she would call with ace-king here almost. She only has 1,300 left. And all the money's going in here. And 2 would have to spike an ace here on the river. Yosh is in great shape. The river's a king. And 2 goes broke for the second time, so if she wants to rebuy for 10,000, she can.
Yeah, it's a painful feeling. We've all been there
Yep.
before.
But I didn't tell him. 3 change.
Thank you, Yosh.
And if I knew he was leaving, I wouldn't have given him any action either.
You know, Bart, all the chips probably would have went in anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if she would have re-raised. Or if she would have just made a raise before the flop, Yosh is either calling or re-raising, so...
Well, the funny thing about that, and again, I don't want to keep harping on the fact that this is restricted, no limit game, is that she only had about 2,900 more, I think. Actually, she only had 2,100. Okay, so when she made the limp re-raise to 2,100, at that point, Yosh with pocket 10s, with what his chip stack is, he probably should have either folded or re-raised all in. I don't really understand the call. I didn't realize how short chip she was. He's not trying to call to hit a set. She doesn't have any money behind her. I think that's an easy push.
No, but
or
he may have
fold.
been playing a little safe. If he knows in his mind if no ace, no king comes,
Okay.
he's going to put the chips in.
Anyways, and then he just slow played it when the flop came with the top set.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I'll buy that one. Of course, it's mentioned here that you are Jack Keller's daughter, of course, the 1984 World Series of Poker champion. Is that where you learned your poker from?
No, actually, he didn't want me to play. He
Really?
wanted my brothers to play, and they play a little bit, but they're not professional players. And I wish I would have
Wow,
got more information from him than I did.
Look at this. Ken bet with the ace-jack, and Gary's making a move. He's raised. But Kenny Berg's probably not going anywhere unless a mega scare card comes on the turn. That's not it. It's a 5. Ken's going to check. Is Gary going to continue to bet here? He is.
Well, I'm going to tell you a little secret. 5-6 offsuit is Gary's favorite hand.
Oh, really?
So
he's going to bet 1,800 here, it looks
he
like.
may want to change his favorite hand after this.
And he has about 4,000 behind. So he's bet
3,300.
1,800 here.
And the purple.
Can't beat your two pair.
Wow, Ken's going to lay it down. Incredible.
Only have one turn. 3 back.
That was a strong play from Gary, no doubt.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, actually, my father, Jack, passed away about 1.5 years ago. And I really kind of kicked myself for not getting more poker advice and information from him than I did. I always wanted to be the one to learn on my own.
That might have been about all you need.
But he was definitely one of the best.
What?
I think he had 7 World Series bracelets.
Really?
One main event.
Wow.
Yeah.
7 World Series bracelets, huh?
I carry one with me for good luck when I go to the tournaments. I think it was a 7-stud bracelet I have.
Well, Gary has raised here with pocket 10s, and 2's got pocket aces, and I think she's just smooth called. She's going to play a trap game here.
Boy, you know,
Smooth.
you think she would learn her lesson at some point that you got to actually play those.
And look at this, Jack 9 King on the flop.
Bobby, check.
And it goes check, check. He's got a straight draw. Ooh, doesn't come. The 6 on the turn.
He won't come to the
Well, I talked to Tommy. He
Yeah,
does
she's
know
played it slow again. Well, she did limp re-raise before, but now she's going to bet, and Gary turns over pocket 10s. And 2's going to take it down. I believe 2 has
She could have
one.
made some money off that.
Oh,
hand if
absolutely.
She would have.
Absolutely. I
Put
mean,
some chips in before the
again,
flop.
now you just talked about the fact that Yosh's play might not necessarily have been that bad because he wanted to see a safe flop with pocket 10s. Well, if Gary, say he has about 4,000 left, and 2 has pocket aces, and Gary's a little bit short chipped, why wouldn't you re-raise there and hope his money's going to go all in because he's going to gamble it up? He doesn't have a lot of chips.
Yeah,
And
that's why this limited buy-in, it does change your game a
absolutely,
little bit.
yeah.
That would definitely be one of the decisions I would have to make before I put chips in the pot, is to look at somebody's stack and try to figure out where they're at
Right.
financially in front of them to see if they're going to be willing to put their chips in.
Three-way hand here, and it was limped around. And Ali, he's flopped top and bottom. He's going to bet 400.
Boy, we have a little of everything there for everyone.
Kenny Berg's got second pair with a gut shot with the king. Turn is a 7.
Ooh, boy, the 8 would have made this straight.
Now Ali checks.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to bet.
Look at this, Ken's going to check behind him. And the river is a 9, and Ali fills up.
Yeah. No, just yellow.
Ali might be able to get a little bit of money out of Ken if he bets the right amount. But Ken seems to play pretty conservatively. He'll lay down top pair, middle pair.
Well, he's going to try to squeeze a little money out here. Oh, he bets 1,000. So actually, it's about a little under the pot size bet here. I thought he might bet a little bit less to try to get a call. But there isn't a whole lot that Ken can beat here. Obviously, he can't beat an 8. He can't beat a jack. He can't beat a 9. He could really only beat almost a stone cold bluff or a weaker 10, right?
Right, that's a tough call.
And we
Especially
see,
coming from Ali, because he seems to play pretty straight up. He puts chips in the
oh, he's
pot.
going to get called. Kenny makes the
did.
call, and Ali's going to take it down. And he actually is, clear cut big winner so far tonight in the first, say, 2 hours of the show. He's got a lot of chips. And if we pan over to seat 1, it's everybody's favorite. There he is, Hannah James,
Cowboy, or you want to wait till the button passes?
with a little bit of different attire. Did you guys have any interaction with the commentators at all when you were doing the show? Were they
No, actually,
totally off
it
to
was
the
all
side?
filmed, and then everything was clipped afterwards.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that a shame?
Isn't that convenient for them to do that? Of course, Live at the Bike is all live, unedited, unrehearsed, and unscripted. So you didn't even get to see them because they did it all after the fact.
Right. You know, honestly, I didn't even know Kenna was going to be doing the commentating, and he called me when they started cutting it, and he said, "We have a script, and they won't let me."
Yeah,
talk.
they won't let it. Yeah,
They
that's
won't
what
let
he was
me say what
complaining
I wanna
about too.
say.
And the funny thing is when he's in here doing spur moment stuff, he's 10 times better than he is on
Absolutely.
the show when they script him. So it's
Yeah, he's definitely fun to play with at the table. There's
Yeah.
nobody that would disagree with that.
Gary's got ace 7 of hearts. Kenna's going to need to show his cards there in seat 1. It's heads up, Kenna against Gary.
It's the mystery hand. What do you put him on?
8 more?
Well,
I think he's got about a Jack 10 suited.
think so? I've seen him make this bet with almost anything.
No. You're not.
Well,
You're
Gary's
throwing
not
pairs
going to
away
call.
these days?
Come on, show a hand, Kenna.
Hey, Kenny, how are you? Good to see you. Ate at your restaurant. You already sold that? I sold that. All right. Well, your what do I call it then? Your creation.
Yeah, that's the better word.
Your creation.
So the button there is in seat 1.
No wonder. I knew. Well, I knew it had gone downhill. That explains it. It
I can
really
hear
helps.
Kenna chatting already.
Already, yep.
Oh, it's tremendous. Tremendous.
Of course, he won second place here in the main event,
Yes.
Legends, a couple weeks ago. We were really pulling for him to
I know
win.
what I had.
500?
Yeah, he's a great ambassador for the game. I was
Yeah.
just in Australia about 6 months ago, and Kenna was there, and we had a fun time. The Australians love him, and
Now, seat 5 there, Action Joe, we call him.
Sorry.
He's
I'm sorry.
made a $500 raise with pocket 9s. Gary in seat 6 is going to call a 5-6 offsuit. Wow, Ali makes a call with Queen 10. He's playing it pretty straightforward and tight. I'm a little. He might be playing the player here. He is in position.
boy, look at that flop.
And look at this. He's got a pair and an open-ended straight draw. And the
Oh, I
flop
thought-
gets checked around. He doesn't put money in with the Queen 10. Oh, the turn is an 8 of diamonds. It's a third diamond. It gives Joe Joe an open-ended straight draw. Again, that's Joe in seat 5. We haven't changed the name. Let's see what he does. He's got an open-ended straight draw. Gary's going to be out of the hand, obviously. And Ali has the best hand right now. Flop action was check. And now Ali's going to bet. No, he checked it again. Wow. And the river is the 5 of diamonds. Kenna would have had a flush. He's out of the hand. Joe is still in the hand with pocket 9s.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any action here.
No, he's going to bet. Maybe he thinks that he needs to bet someone off of a weak diamond. You know,
Yeah,
if he thought that he could check his hand at showdown and win the hand, and he's going to win the hand, and obviously we can see that no one had a diamond, but I'm sure he didn't want someone to squeak out a win there with the deuce or 3 of diamonds.
I'm excited for you.
Why let somebody accidentally take the pot down, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Ali's very well composed at the table.
absolutely. His game has been very, very impressive. And he is a professional high-stakes cash game player. And you would expect that. I mean, we've seen a lot of players come on here that are tournament players and kind of play like, what are these guys doing? You know? But usually the ones that make a really fairly good living at cash game play it pretty well. Now, Gary has raised here with 5-6 of hearts. Kenna has called.
Have you noticed Gary's had 5-6 or played
Yeah.
5-6 the last
Yeah.
3 out of 10 hands, I guess.
Kenna called him with the ace-jack in position, and he's flop top pair. Gary's going to check. Kenna bets 400, and he takes it down. Do you know the history of that hand for him or something? Or you just know it's his favorite
I
hand?
don't. I just remember playing with him and him turning over 5-6, usually offsuit, so many times. And
What are those chips?
actually
over there?
taking down pots with her, that's for sure.
Look at Kenna's asking him what are the pink chips that Ali has. We usually don't pull those chips out here at the bike, but those are $50 chips. I guess for a game like 200, 400, which really isn't spread here that often. $50 chips. Those are actually my favorite chips here. Again, you don't really see them that often.
Aren't the $5,000 chips pink here, too?
Purple. Light
Are they?
purple. Yep. family pot here. 6-way action limped around. It's a $600 pot. 2 had pocket 9s in seat 8, and she chose to limp in there. And seat 5 had pocket 8s. And look at this. It got checked around. The turn is the 3 of clubs, 3rd club.
6.
And look at Gary. Gary's going to bet here with ace-6. Kenna has a wheel over there in seat 1. Well, that's kind of dangerous to bet out there in early position with ace-6. No clubs. Kenna makes a smooth call there with the wheel. And let's see the river. Oh, the river is a 5, and Gary backs into a higher straight. And he checks it. Oh!
Yeah,
I don't see how you
that's
check that, unless he's planning on check raising. I mean...
Kenna's not. I mean, I don't think Kenna would bet it right here.
Well, unless he thinks that he might be able to take it away from the guy.
Unless he thinks
no,
he
he's
might have
gonna
a
check
flush,
it down.
too.
Yeah. Gary turns over ace-6. Oh, that is brutal. Brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Short on the turn too. Why didn't raise, Kenny? You raised Kenny?
Huh?
You raised on the turn.
Yeah, I'm real surprised that Gary didn't bet that.
On the river, right?
Sure.
It's a chop pot. They're looking at a chop pot. Why didn't make it look like you're trying to bet the guy off of a hand, right?
Especially knowing the team's personality.
Did you notice there was
Yeah.
a flush out
You know,
there?
there's a little bit of camaraderie and trying to gamble against each other.
Yeah.
I think Kenna would assume that he's trying to buy the pot, probably call him down if it was
You know,
a small
I mean, he's
bet.
betting into 3 people. You know, I figure, you know, he might have some. I didn't know he only had.
And that's exactly what Kenna's saying. He's saying he got bet into me on the turn. When the 3rd club came into 3 people, who would put him on ace-6 offsuit?
Right.
And I think Kenna maybe thought the guy had some flush or something, you know? It's... Yoshi's going to raise here from the cutoff. Ace-10 offsuit. And Action Joe is going to come in the pot in seat 5. We cannot see his cards. Oh, Joe's got pocket queens, and he's re-raised. And he's going to take it down.
Thank you guys very much. Good luck to all of you.
And Greg is going to head out of the box. So what do you think about live poker being shown with hole cards? First time ever in a cash game.
You know, I'm really surprised that some of these players will actually expose
Participate
their
in it,
cards.
yeah.
Sure, they're high limit players, and if they do have any information that other people don't know about, it's they're not going to be able to keep it a secret anymore. I remember when books first started coming out, talking to some of the higher limit players that swore they'd never write a book, like Doyle and Chip and my father. They all said, no way, we're not writing any books because it's going to cost us money in the long run. People are going to learn our game. And now all of a sudden, the books are flying off the shelves and everybody's writing them. So.
Well, you know, it's funny. I asked Skolansky at the Rio Poker Convention when I interviewed him just that question. And he said, well, it was a tough decision to make. Because, I mean, if you actually study his Hold'em book for advanced players, for Limit Hold'em, and you play it by the book, that book will teach you to be a winning player. I mean, you're going to have to adjust it to see how much of a winning player, but it pretty much teaches you the winning principles. I mean, more so than any book, I think, for any game. Now, the thing is that he said that at the time, we were trying to figure out if it was going to be profitable, more profitable to keep our secrets and just play our poker game, or we're going to sell enough copies for it, you know, to be profitable. And now he says he made the right decision,
Sure.
obviously.
The television boom is just,
yeah.
It's changed poker for the rest of the world. I think one good thing about reading those books is you at least know what everybody else is learning. You don't so much have to change your game, but it gives you a lot of information about what other people know.
Freddie in C2 brought this one in for $350. He got called in 2 spots. All spades, ace 10 7. And he was in pretty good shape there. Oh, everyone checks. And the turn is a spade, and no one has a spade. Let's see if somebody might represent here. Look at this.
Gary has the 2 pair there, so he might.
Gary has 2 pair, and Freddie has 2 pair. And Ali bets right into the 4 spades, and Freddie mucks the best hand. And Gary mucks the best hand. Ali has represented a flush, and he takes it down with the third best hand.
That's where turning over only real premium hands is going to be an advantage to him, because these players will lay down a hand to somebody like him. Now, if it were somebody that was turning over bluffs, they may have...
I'm a little bit
Doesn't mean to
surprised. I
play.
mean, that's pretty passive. I mean, Freddie in seat 2, he brings it in for a raise, a standard raise, with ace-queen of clubs. And the flop comes ace-10-7, all spades. There's 2 other people in the pot, it gets checked to him. Normally, I don't know what you would do, but I would normally throw a bet out there in position in this game.
Yeah, it's tough to say.
Yeah.
Heads up, maybe. But three-handed, that's a...
Scary? A little scary, yeah.
In that position, the only way you're going to get called is if you're beat. And you don't have a draw. You have to be willing almost to put a re-raise in if somebody raises you. I mean, if you're going to represent a bluff, you might have to just go with it. So
I think I will. I mean, he had top pair. I think I might bet with the intention of folding to a check raise. Obviously, you cannot take much heat, but instead, you get a fourth spade to peel off and let somebody take it right away from you. Gary has raised here with the ace-queen. And Joe's going to call there with 10-7 suited.
those are nice hands to see the flop with. They're easy to let go even if you flop a pair. I mean, you're definitely not trying to flop a 7 or a 10. You're trying to flop a flush or a straight.
Well, Gary has picked up the ace-queen, and he's got top pair. And Joe is going to take it down. I was going to say, on that flop, I think that jack is critical for Joe, because if the flop was queen 5 deuce, he's the type of player, he just might check raise with anything. He's an action rammer and jammer player. And we've seen him do it before, but I think with the jack, he figures, well, that's even that more of a chance that the guy is going to call my raise. There's Poker Blue. Live the rush. Poker Blue Whale Night tonight. Of course, you can go to pokerblue.net and check out the some of the poker articles. I think Tuckman's Under the Gun there is on pokerblue.net as well.
I misread it.
Or a different article by David is on Poker Blue. Gary's going to bring this one in for, looks like 600 with pocket 10s. And 2 in seat 8. She's re-raised with pocket 5s.
Even
Now, in my mind, I would definitely know she doesn't have 2 aces because she had limped with them or just smooth called with them twice before. So.
And he makes the call, so now the pot's about 3,100 total. And I think 2 might have rebought for 10,000, so that's why you're not seeing the flop getting pushed harder here by Gary. Well, 8-4-4, not a bad flop for either player. Gary has checked. Let's see how much 2 bets here. This is going to be a monster pot here, Kathy, I have a feeling. Both players are pretty deep. $2,000 bet there by 2 with pocket 5s.
He doesn't
and
hesitate.
Gary instantly calls. Instantly. The pot is now $7,000 in real cash. The turn is a 6. I mean, 2's got to realize that this guy must have something.
Right,
There's
she
no
needs
real
to
draw
just
on the
check here
flop.
and let him make a decision.
I mean, what could he be calling with? Yeah, she's going to check behind. I think that's wise. And the river is a 4. And now if you're Gary, do you bet here because you think that maybe 2 thought you had a 4, but now a third 4 coming on the river, lessens that possibility?
Well,
He's
she's
gonna
almost
bet.
forced to call.
Because she's checked the turn.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's a
It
$2,000
would be a
bet.
tough call.
$2,000 bet here. The pot is $9,000. And it's $2,000 for her to call. This is going to be one of the biggest hands of the night. Again, she has kind of induced the bluff here by checking behind on the turn.
But what could he be betting with when she re-raises?
Well, what could he call the flop with too? $2,000 on the flop. You lose to an 8, obviously. Even if he called something ridiculous like 6-7 or 5-6, he got there.
Right.
Or he has a better hand.
I think she'll probably lay the hand down.
Oh, shit, this is one to think about here. He played it. Remember, he raised And she re-raised him, so he easily could have an overpair.
Well, she
And
is
she's
fine.
going to make the call, and we're looking at an $11,000 pot, ladies and gentlemen, and he's going to take it down there. $11,000 in cash. Oh, what a great hand. And 2 is down close to 14,000 for the night right now. 2 and Joe are getting slaughtered here tonight. Absolutely slaughtered.
Yeah, and she's definitely held some cards tonight, too. That's a
Yeah.
tough situation to be in. It's an action game, though. It's the type of game where you can definitely get your money back. Sometimes the problem is just knowing when to say when.
Yeah, it was incredible how everybody just folded at the end.
And we'll get to a question here that someone wrote up on 2+2 for you, Kathy. If you feel comfortable answering it. I don't know what your relationship is with GSN. Here we go to the flop. 6-way action limped around. Queen, 6, 8. Ken limped in with pocket 9s. Gets checked around on the flop. The turn is a king. Looks like 9s are still good here, Kenberg. Oh, no, 2's got a king over there in C8. And she's in position. Let's see if she bets it.
500.
She's going to bet a little under the size of the pot. And she's going to take it down. So what do you think about the broadcasting? Kev Math on 2+2 writes, do you think that GSN does a good job broadcasting poker? He says, making the commentators read scripts instead of doing an ad lib seems very silly. I tend to agree with him.
Well, I do too. The problem is it's all done in a Hollywood studio, and the majority of people really know nothing about the game of poker itself. So you have paid commentators coming in trying to explain a game that they've never played before. But I do think when they have somebody like Kenneth, they should take advantage
absolutely.
of his poker skills and his personality and just let him run with it a little bit. I would like to see a combination.
Yeah. It's pretty obvious that those guys are always like reading from a teleprompter.
Right.
So, it's just everything is scripted out. And you would never know that Kenna is such a personality by him on that show. I mean, anyone could do that and just read what he reads.
Yeah, it
That's the
doesn't
point.
doesn't do him justice
Yeah.
either, let alone the poker players. I mean, a lot of the poker players really have colorful histories and personalities, and I think they should expose that a little bit. But they really don't allow much ad-libbing.
Now, Joe limped in under the gun with pocket jacks. Not a good flop for him. Oh, look at this. He's backed into a Broadway straight. 10 comes on the river. And Ken Berg also has a jack. And he's going to bet. I think a smooth call is in order here.
Yeah, just in case you want to pick up another bet from, in case one of the other
Squeeze
players
somebody.
has an ace-10 or an ace-queen, and they might want to call a small bet. There's no sense in raising.
I would tend to agree with you here.
If he were last to act, that's a whole different story. But in that spot,
But he is going to raise. And obviously Ken's going to call him, and they're going to chop it up. I mean, there's nothing else out there.
is he going to put in a little re-raise?
This is like when I play the stud high-low game, Kathy. When someone's got a full house and got someone that has a wheel or a low. Chop it up, folks. Keep the chips in front of you. Boy, that wasn't really obvious.
Yeah.
Now, to a lot of the viewers of the show, I talk about stud high-low a lot. That's actually the only game I play online now, and I play a ton of it, talking about how old the players are. Although I saw you sit in the game this afternoon today.
Oh, here in
here at the bike. Yeah.
It was the only seat open, and I had an hour to kill. I enjoy the game. I love stud to begin with, but the stud 8 or better is a lot of fun. I play that online too quite a bit.
Yeah. Now it's interesting that we talk about commentating, and we have a strong niche audience here at Live at the Bike. A lot of people that are interested in poker are watching a webcast of live action poker 5 days a week. But at the same time, we're going to be on television soon, and we try to bring in that new audience. So we have to capture other entertaining things, but sometimes it makes the niche audience say, why are you dumbing down the show?
Right.
Why isn't it just about poker? Or why are we having a ladies' night? Why are we doing a theme night? Well, it's because we have to, broaden out the spectrum to people that aren't necessarily poker during their lives. And it's just a balance between the two.
Well, it's nice to have different perspectives of other poker players, I would think, rather than just the same two every broadcast.
300.
You can have two broadcasters that have played all their lives, and they may have totally different
4 players.
outlooks on some of the hands and how they're played. Bring new people in, it just gives you a lot of things to think about.
Oh, $1,000 bet here by someone. It's 2. She's going to bet with King Jack. Well, she definitely didn't play that hand slow, and there were 5 people in the hand versus, again, a couple of hands ago when Freddie over in seat 2 checked the top pair with the 3 spades on board. I'm pretty sure, Kathy, that Ali is going to come back and talk to us for at least 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the show, him being pretty much the big winner tonight. Get a chance to ask him some questions.
Good. Maybe you can ask him why he just limps with ace-king.
In the small blind. That actually is a question that I will ask.
I'd be curious to know what his
It's got to be
rationale is.
some sort of trap, right?
Sure. And it seemed to work, that hand, if I remember right.
Yeah. Seat 9 raised it to 300.
Total 16.
Oh boy, pocket queens for seat 1.
Every time Yosh is in, he had to raise.
And Kenneth smooth called the raise by Ali, and seat 3 has re-raised. It's Yosh to 1,800, and Kenna is going to make the call. So we've got pocket queens against ace. Oh, no, Kenna's going to move all in. Well, at this point, he's short chipped. I think it's the right move in a restricted no-limit game. I mean, he's got 4,000 left. Why not, at this point, push it?
Yeah, I think this is the first pot that they've gotten in against each other, and it's I think they have definitely a mutual respect for each other, so I'm going to be surprised to see what happens.
So Ali raised, Kenna called in between. Now Yosh re-raised, and now Kenna's pushed all in. That smells to me like a mid-pair, at least in a no-limit restricted buy-in game. I would have a little been surprised when Kenna turns over queens. It smells like he's played it like 8s or 9s, and I want to gamble it up and try to get my chip stack up a little bit.
Right.
But he's got queens.
In a tournament situation with ace-king, I think players are a lot more likely to try to raise somebody off a hand, but for some reason when I'm playing live action, I can lay ace-king down a lot easier than
Oh, and Kenna flops top set, but Yosh has got a straight draw. He could catch a 10 or running hearts, deuce of diamonds. 10 would do it for Yosh, and that's it. The river's a 5, and Kenna's going to double up. He's going to double through with the queens.
Kenna's more apt to get a call there than some of the other players might have been too. Yosh, knowing that he's an action player.
Yeah. We were talking about that before when Gary had made the same move with pocket jacks, and Ali made a call with ace king. Almost identical situation. Guaranteed he's an action player. You're more likely to be up against not aces or kings.
Right.
And those are the only 2 hands that you really need to worry about.
Right. I bet Kenna's heart just sunk when Yosh called him. Queens look big until somebody puts all their chips in front of you. Then they don't look so big anymore.
Well, remember, Kenna was the one that pushed all in, and Yosh made the call, so I'm sure that he was hoping that he turned over ace-king or jacks or ace-queen or
the best you can hope for is that he turns over 2 jacks. You don't want to see an ace-king. I don't anyway.
Well, yeah, right. But I'd rather see ace-king than kings or aces, though,
right.
in that spot, for sure.
Raise 500.
Kenna's going to play his rush a little bit.
There's a lot of action in this game.
Yeah, he's going to bring it in for 500, ace-10 of spades. And the game was a little bit tight in the beginning, too, so it's interesting how the lineup changes things up.
You know, some people get big stacks in front of them and they play a lot faster, and some people tighten up. And I think Ken is the type that's more apt to continue fast play when he has chips in front of him. So I'm sure the game will keep live.
So again, Ali will come in here for a couple minutes. If anyone has any questions that I might want to, that they would like to have asked to him, specifically about gameplay tonight, you can feel free to contact us. I only remember him in a few hands, and I got 3 off the top of my head that I'm going to ask him about. He hasn't had any real tough decisions. He's just played it straightforward tonight, and he's been the big winner. $400 raise there by Yosh with King Jack. 2 is going to call with a suited ace, and Ali's going to call with pocket 4s. And here we go to the flop. $1,200 pot, king, queen, 6. Yosh has top pair. And he bets. Over the size of the pot, and he's going to take it down. So Kathy, there was a rumor that you might start actually working at the bike.
I don't
Is that
know
just
about
a rumor?
that.
Just
Seems like every time I play somewhere, they are spreading around that I'm working there.
Oh, really? You were telling me that you used to prop at one of the other casinos here in LA, Hawaiian Gardens and Crystal Palace, which is another smaller one.
Yeah,
It's
I worked at the Hustler at Larry Flint's casino
Oh,
for
yeah?
a while. And yeah, kind of always been a player, but it's kind of nice to have that extra money coming in.
Yosh brought that one in for a raise with pocket queens. Now, how did you get hooked up with Poker Royale?
They just called me.
Oh, yeah?
Actually, yeah. They wanted to mix it up a little. They had been showing some of the same people, you know.
Yeah, it's funny.
Episodes.
One of my co-commentators, Shirley Rosario. Now, you said you don't really know who she
No,
is.
I don't.
She does the website Poker Babes, and she's always hoping that they will invite her into the ladies' night here at Legends WPT.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been feeling the same way? Now it's obviously invite only, and I don't know how. We've always wondered how they make the decision.
You know, it was probably 4 years ago. It was mentioned and suggested by some people that I came in to play this tournament, and I had no idea what it was all about, and I kind of blew it off.
Oh, really? So they invited you the first
I don't
year?
think I'm going to get invited again. I think I'm going to have to earn my keep this
Well,
time.
the first year was with like Annie Duke, Kathy Liebert, and some of the other top women players too.
I think that's the year Cloney won.
Yeah,
it.
that was the year that made Cloney, and Evelyn Ng got on the stage too when she got second. So that's interesting. We've got a couple of ace kings here. Wow. Seat 4's got an ace king. Seat 6 has an ace king, and we've got 6-way action in here. 2's got a queen 9. And I believe the pot is about $2,500 now. Ken Berg brought the one hand in for a raise pre-flop. And he's betting $800 into a $2,500 pot. Wow, Joe's going to call with that. Overcards in a gut shot. Backdoor diamonds. Doesn't look like Kenna or Freddie have much of anything. And we're heads up ace-king against Jack-10. And with the aces and the kings dead, Joe's drawn pretty live here. The turn's a 3. See what Kenna does. Kenna's going to check. And look at this. I love the bet. Joe's going to bet all in here.
Well, he's seen Kenny lay down quite a few big hands, so.
Yeah. Well, once Ken checks the turn, you know he doesn't really have an overpair. Or I would think I'd put him on a couple of high cards here at this point.
Or a middle pair, maybe a 7.
Yeah,
or,
Ken folds. Yeah.
It's a good bet. You know, that's where a short stack sometimes can be beneficial because you're not afraid to lose 10,000. You're only going to lose 2,000 if you lose the hand.
So getting back to what we were saying, so you were kind of invited to the first one, and you didn't really know what it was going to. Of course, that at that time the WPT was really new at the time too, right?
Everything was pretty new at that point. Yeah, I'd played quite a few tournaments. I mean, with 10 years before.
Wow, look at Ali.
Done well, but
Ali's got 24,000, and they had started with 5,000. He's up almost 20,000 for the night. Yoshi's down about 7,000. Freddie's up about 9,000. Chu is down about 12,000. Gary is kicking in around even, and Ken is up about $3,000. Ken Berg is up about $2,000 for the night. There you go. We're going to see three-way action here. Raised 400 pre-flop, I believe, by Gary with the ace-queen.
Now, Bart, do they cut this game off at 9 o'clock?
Well,
Or
we
do
stopped
they continue?
broadcasting, but they'll keep
Okay.
going. They'll keep going.
that was-
Though they might turn it into a mixed game, whatever the players
Right.
want. Whatever the players want.
I've played in places where they cut off at a certain time.
Yeah.
In certain states, they have to close down at 2 o'clock. And I'll tell you what, that last half an hour of play was just the most crazy play you'd ever seen because people wanted to get all their money in before the game broke.
Well, it gets checked to Kenna on the button, and he's got a pair and a gut shot. And he bets, and he's going to take it down. And again, now we've seen 2 times since that hand with Freddie Bunyadi with the 3-flush with spades that someone has flopped a pair with a 3-flush and bet into 3 people in the field and take it down. So, of course, we talk about that hand because Ali stole that pot. It was a big pot.
I wish I could take credit for a steal, but I can't.
You know, he's a champion. He's not very good. When you check, you wait for a flop, you check on a flop.
He's going to check if he has a flush.
Kind of giving a little Kenna a little guff. I don't know if you can hear in the background, but they're calling him champion and kind of teasing him a little bit. He's feeling a lot of pressure now.
I turn around, look at my cards, and hopefully raise. What's on the way?
I'm surprised how many multi-way pots we've been seeing in this big of game. A lot of limping and
Jack 8-9 on the flop. 2 is going to lead right away with Queen Jack, top pair. Gut shot. Kenna's got a bottom pair with a 9, so he's got an open-ended straight draw. And Ali in seat 9, he's flopped a straight. And he's going to raise 2. He's got Queen 9. So a bet, and he immediately raises. And I love the raise. I think too many people slow play. There's 5 people in the hand. The board is pretty connected. Any card could come that could complete a straight, not necessarily knock him off of his hand, but to kill his action. And he pops it up immediately with Queen 9. I can't see how Kenna can make this call. A bet and a raise.
I'm surprised that Ali raised with that hand. I mean, I like it too if you know you're going to get the action. The only time that I wouldn't want to maybe just call a bet with that is if there were 2 suited cards out there to keep some flush draws out. But
I mean, I would tend to agree with you in a big unrestricted no limit game. But when people are on short chips and people are making crazy calls,
right. Well, if he knows he's going to get the action, then.
And here we go.
Boy, he
Look at
sure
that.
did, too.
You got the action. 2 made the call with Queen Jack. And she is drawing really thin. Turn is a 3. And she's having a rough night tonight, Kathy. She could go bust right here if frustration comes into it. She doesn't look like she has much left. The pot is now, I want to say, $3,000.
Yeah, she'll probably call it a small bet on the turn, I would think.
He's going to bet half the size of the pot.
That's a good bet.
So the pot is now $4,500, $1,500 for her to call. And I just don't think I'd be giving Ali any action. Look at this. She's going to push, and he's got the nuts right now.
That's why that was such a good bet, because if he doesn't have anything, he can lay the hand down for half of those chips.
Right. And look
Otherwise,
at that. And she's going to need to draw to a 9 for a chop. And the river is a 4, and he continues to kill this table tonight. Huge, huge win. That looks like that's another 4,000-ish. And she's going back in there again into her purse. And we're talking about close to a $10,000 pot again. He's really smoked. Look at those. She's got quite a bit.
You know, I've been in that spot myself, maybe not for that much money, but that's a point where a player actually wants to take a walk. I mean, you want to just go walk around the block for 10 minutes and take a breath.
Now, she's already done the 1 rebar for 10 grand. I think she can do it again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they were anticipating that someone would get knocked down to felt 4 times tonight in 3 hours, but that's what's happened. Donna, can you ask Yosh if she can buy in for 10,000? Just give us a little tell for our 4th time. Oh, Yosh is not at the table.
Just 100.
You know, everybody has their own little tilt factor, too. If you've been playing long enough, you know what yours is, and you get to the point where you finally have to back off. Some people are more prone to do it, and most players think they don't have one. So I think the best players know when it's actually kicked in and when to back off.
Well, 2 is in the hand. She has 1 ace. She needs to spread her cards over there. Freddie in seat 2's got King Jack. He's flopped top 2 pair here. Couple of diamonds. Ken's got a flush draw over there in seat 4. Freddie's going to lead right out with top 2 pair. Kenny calls the flush draw. 2's got ace king. She could get in trouble here again,
Yeah,
Kathy.
she sure could.
I think she's only playing 5,000 behind. Is she just going to call? No, she check raises to 2,000 more. And at this point, if you're Freddie, why not just push? I mean, she's steaming. I would think
Yeah.
she'd be steaming.
He's going to get a call. And you do kind of want to get the flush draw out of there, I would think.
I think he's going to push hard here. So let's see how much he puts in here. You got to think that Ken might be on a draw here. Yeah, and he's going to push all in. And I got to tell you, she's going to call. She only bought in for 5,000. She's got 50% of the money in there. She's got 6,500. Here we go. We get a call. The turn is an 8. She needs to spike an ace. And the river is a 10. Kenny Berg would have made the flush. A great re-raise by Freddie on the flop. And she busts out another 5,000. And Kathy, she was down, I want to say 20 to 25,000 for the night. What a rough night there by 2. And Freddie, he wins another big pot.
Yeah, she doesn't look happy.
Yeah, he's got about $1 million.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to say it again, but no matter how long you play, you still have a bit of a tilt factor. And
Yep.
not that she had hands that she could have laid down. Well, she could have, but if you take a breath and take that extra 2 seconds sometimes to think about things and
Yep.
read your player, your decisions do change.
That's big money for her, not you.
What do you mean? It's big money for anybody. You can't. I start to.
Yeah, she lost 25,000. They're talking about it right there. She said that's big money for her.
I think that's pretty big money for anybody.
Well, I mean, the only thing I can say about that is that if I am going to lose 25,000 in a session of poker, my bankroll is going to be at least 100 times that much. Well, maybe not that big. Let's see. What are some of my biggest losses? Probably at least 25 times the amount. I mean, I like to keep my session losses to no more than 20 times. 20 times my bankroll, or 1/20th of my bankroll. So I don't know how much of a hit there for her bankroll that was, but she definitely got taken out pretty big today.
She sure did.
So Kenny, you're gonna invite me for your game?
Some of it was preventable, though, when she had...
You beat me all the time.
I mean, I'm not sure that 2 10s would have laid down
Yeah,
against
how
2
come
aces.
I
And
can't play
what were
that
the other
game,
hands? I
Kenny?
remember the 2 10s, but...
You know what? I never, in the 4 times I played in your game at Dagobah, I never won once. I know.
Aces are just
I
a
mean,
scary
if
hand.
I-
You get 2 aces, and limping
Why,
with
I
them
get
is
a lot of
one thing in a tournament, but in live action,
I mean, that's what it's about, having fun and a good
I'd
time.
never have understood that, especially on an action table like this.
What's Thursday's game?
Well, I think a lot of people limp in with big pairs in early position to throw the limp re-raise in, and then you see it so many times in the lower games that they can't get away from an overpair and an unraised pot. 6 ways, the flop comes 5, 6, 7, all spades, and you've got 2 red aces, and there's 7 people in the hand.
You're not a favorite, that's for darn sure.
Yeah.
Kenny, how many years I know you? 5?
3-way action. Kenna got pocket jacks. He's going to bet here.
You might be trying to test.
Look at this. Ali's got a
Ali.
weak ace, and he makes the call in position.
You should get me everywhere you go.
The turn is a queen. Ken is going to check, and Ali checks behind him. And the river is an ace, and Ali has made a full house.
Well, that might have
You know what? She said
create a little more
5,000 blank.
action for Ali. Kenna may not have called on the turn, but he might here.
Yeah. Well, Ali could definitely say that I'm on a busted spade draw. I'm going to bet the river.
1,600.
And he's going to overbet the
How
pot.
much is it?
1,600. Look at that. A brown chip, a green chip, and a white chip. Kathy, I love this overbet. David and I talk about this all the time. Make it look like you're trying to steal it. Make it look like you're on a busted spade draw. He's vastly overbet the pot here. He's bet 1,600 into about a $600 pot.
This way.
What happened
This
if
one.
I
Okay,
would have
after
lost
this
the
hand.
And he has the goods, but he's made it look like, well, I think I missed my draw. I want to buy this pot. Now, unfortunately for him, Kenna can't beat the queen on board either, so that might make it easier for him to lay it down. But if that, if that turn card was
All
a,
right, now can I know what the bet is?
if that turn card was a blank, like a deuce,
If I would have lost it, I would never.
Well, there's no way Kenna can call here. All he's expecting to get is his money back if he does call.
right to ask it back.
well, yeah, Kenna's gotten, no, he would, yeah, he makes the call. He makes the call, the overbet. What an overbet by Ali, and he's going to turn over ace-7. Well, Kenna's play, his jack's play there,
right.
because it's aces and nines. I love that play. I think that was one of the best plays all night by Ali. That's a great play there by seat 9.
You're probably right about that.
What an unbelievable play.
This hand's a round pot. Small blind.
Wow.
Really quick. I'm on live at the bike, so I got about 10 seconds.
I'm real surprised that Kenna called with that hand. He had to put him on at least a.
I think that
least
he
a
would be
queen.
less likely to call a smaller bet than he did in the bigger bet. I think that was the beauty of the bet there. It was a great bet.
That'll be a good question for Ali.
Yep,
too.
I'm going to definitely ask him
I
about
just
that
gave
hand.
him 1,600. I figure I might as well give
You're
1,600
not
to you.
pissed off about that hand.
Oh. Kenna's
Oh,
got
I
pocket
am pissed
jacks.
off about that.
Freddie's got ace queen. We're heads up here. $800 raise and a call.
800 dark.
And Kenna's going to bet 800 dark with the overpair.
Just in,
10-3-4.
just in case. In case you don't have any.
This is where Kenna's acting experience is coming into play.
Yep.
This hand's a round
Yeah,
pot.
when you
90, please.
win the pot, in the final table.
And Kenna takes it down there.
Maybe 90, please.
How much?
90.
$90 I get to pay for everybody? I can't wait. I love it. There you go. Take it. I want to pay everybody's call.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, that was a historic moment for me to beat Fred in a pot. It was historic. It's just like now the floodgates are open. He's never going to beat me another pot.
Really, even I did do one.
Yeah. We'll be
So we've got about 20 minutes left in the show.
Actually, you did me a big pot of Bellagio. I remember that.
Yeah.
Boy, I've definitely learned a
Yeah,
little
you
just
did.
sitting here and
I didn't beat you because
Yeah, it's
And
great,
watching,
isn't it?
yeah.
call.
Great to see. Try doing it for 1,500 hours. Your brain gets a little fried, but
350.
just soak up that
I've
information.
learned to deal with it.
400. Think it's something different. 350.
Kenna's made it looks like 350 to go here with ace 5.
I don't even know.
And
what I
Ken
had.
Berg calls the jack 8 of spades. Kenny's flop top pair. Kenna's got middle pair.
550.
And he's going to bet. He's going to continue the betting
I
lead.
can put one. I can put that in.
That's 550.
5.
And this kind of puts Ken in a tough spot. He has top pair. He's got jack 8. Is that necessarily the flop that you want to see with jack 8? Well, maybe if it's heads up.
How much?
And he's going to raise.
Well, he's going to test him a little bit, it looks like.
He's going to raise it up
I'm
1,100.
surprised. That's a tough raise. That's a good play.
Well, the thing is that he doesn't have much more money. Did you hear that comment there by
Yeah.
Kenna?
What the heck's going on?
Put it in.
I turned my head for 1 second.
Teach him a lesson, Kenny.
He says Kenny's pushing him around.
I turned my head for 1 second. That's 100 more. What the heck's going on?
Oh, he's doing a little acting too. There's no way he's going to call this raise.
Oh, man. All right.
Now he's going to lay it down. Well, it's to Ken. I mean,
It's
he's
good for
not.
the game. Show me. I'll applaud.
I didn't
He
even know
can't
how
stop.
much you
You're
go.
right. You're right.
Well,
You're right. She's right. You're right. You are right. Everything you said is right. She's right too.
Always a good sign when you encourage them to show a bluff and they can't do it.
I can't bluff you. I wouldn't even try.
What happens if you won?
Big blind.
I think there's some sort of discussion that two might have asked to play money behind on that hand that she went broke
I
on,
would never.
Yeah, there is some kind of discussion going on. I
and that
haven't
she didn't
figured it
properly
out.
pay seat 2 off on the hand.
Oh, me. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, this is an interesting situation.
Is that a decision you make, Donna?
Well,
Check to my friends.
the people. So what Donna's saying is that people can't hear Donna talking to us in his ear, and I'll get to it after the hand. Because it's the question that I wanted to ask Donna when Yosh was not here. So let me get into it after the hand here. Got Ken's got a King 8. Now Ali has bet here with a gut shot to the 10. Look at this, what respect. I mean, he's just been winning all the time, and he's going to win here again. So what the situation was that Two said that she was $5,000 behind. The dealer announced it. But when she bet with the ace-king, or when she called with the ace-king, she put 6,100 in the pot. So she actually had more than, I guess, what she was allowed to have. Well, it's speculative if she put 51 or 61. But then again, it gets back to my question that I think that she was still allowed to buy in for $10,000 that time anyways. Now, regardless of those two factors, I think the action sticks anyways. I think that she's going to have to give that money to... I don't see how she could ever get that money back from...
Right. Once it goes in the pot,
Yeah.
but even if you say you're 5,000 behind and you put 6,000 in, there's not a lot that can be done because if you would have won the
If you would have
pot,
won, exactly.
she would
Right.
expect to get paid.
Yeah,
So,
well, now she's asking to get that 1,000 back, and I just don't see how that's possible.
Asher Dan.
yeah, I'm not quite sure who's going to make that decision. If it's going to be Donna, the floor person, or
Well, Donna, yeah, it's going to be a 4-person.
Yeah. I don't know.
But again, I think she was still allowed to bring it up to 10,000 anyways, which
Right.
makes the thing totally moot. It's not like there was any illegal action at
Right.
all.
I would look.
if it was a $5,000 maximum, then there is a difference there.
Yeah.
350.
Ah, here we go. Oh, Kathy, we're going to finish this handoff with you, and then we're going to bring in Ali, who's the big winner tonight, into the game.
Champion.
Cheesecake to a man of your wealth.
Looks like Ken is already drinking up here.
I think it's apple
I hate
juice.
when he says let's
And we've got a heads up here, ace-5 against 6-8. 4-5-4 on the flop.
I'm going to put a feeler bet
Ken
on
has got a
it,
gut
okay?
shot.
See if he's got like sevens.
Says he's
Ken
going to
might
put
just bet a little.
a little feeler bet out. Well, Gary's got top pair. I have a feeling he's not going anywhere with ace-5.
Odd stuff?
Yeah, you know, you got to.
These two are both masters of the bantering, too, so it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them play back and forth.
Raise me like 1,000.
Okay, I'll raise it.
They know you. They've seen you on television.
It's a good idea.
All right, I'm going to raise you 2.
I'd love to play with you.
Wow, and there's a raise. Gary's going to raise. And Ken is going to re-raise. Wow. Holy smokes.
They've definitely played together before.
Now is ace-5 looking that good? Well, maybe if you think you have the best hand, which he does.
I hate
So a bet, a raise, and a re-raise by Kenna. He
right?
bets out, he
Everything
gets
would be
raised, and
great.
he re-raises.
You know, if life was just like a poker game. But it's not, so you got to play that.
Oh, you mean I can't
And it looks like he's re-raised to 2,500. Wow.
Life
Come
is
on, let
like
me
a
win
deck
this
of
one. I'll
cards.
buy you a drink. We'll have a good time.
I don't think
Nobody
anybody
gets
He
hurt.
has more outs probably than he thinks. A 6 or his 8 or a 7 would be good.
That's a tough call for Gary.
Well, Kenna could easily have a 4. Yeah, look at that. He's going to muck it, and Kenna's going to take it down. Strong semi-bluff.
It probably is, but I can't.
And Captain Colbert, I want to thank you for joining us for like an hour and a half.
pleasure.
Your
A lot of
commentary was
fun.
great.
Thanks, Bo.
Hope to have you
Sure, I'll see you
pump
again
live
soon.
at the bike and all your other spots that you go
Sure.
to. So thanks a lot.
Thank
have a good
you.
night.
I'll work to Ali.
Okay.
What do we got? 100?
Running over the table now.
Yeah, I'm running over the table. Look, you've got, what do you got, 1 million? I've got like nothing.
So Ali is going to come into the booth here, and I have several questions for him about some of the hands that he's played and what he thinks about this game. How you doing tonight, Ali? Congratulations on your big night. You're up about 25 G's right now, aren't you?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I
didn't
think
really
you
count.
have.
I try not to count in the middle of the session.
But what I wanted to ask you about, as when we're going to try to incorporate the hand coverage in within this, I want to ask you about some specific hands and then generally about this game.
Okay.
Queen 8-9 here on the board, or Queen 8-10, a couple of diamonds, ace of spades on the turn. Ken is going to make a call here with a gut shot. Looks like Kenny Berg has a weak ace, and he's got the best hand over there in seat 4. But look at this. Ken is going to make a stab at it. He's going to stab at it as a bluff. He missed his draw, and he's going to bet 900. And Ken's going to have to call with a weak ace here.
He's going to make the call.
You think so? He's played it pretty tight all night, Ken.
I think he's going to make this call.
Because it's Kenna?
Knowing the player, I believe he's going to make this call.
There you go.
I got nothing.
So what I wanted to ask you to start off the game, as I was telling the viewers, that this is the most, or I want to say interesting, but it's the strangest game I've ever seen spread live. This is a restricted buy-in, no-limit hold'em cash game. It's a $5,000 maximum game, and the big blind is $100, which gives you 50 times your big blind money. Isn't it, in essence, playing like a $200 restricted buy-in game where the big blind is $5? I mean, it's the same game, right? Obviously, it's more money, but it's the same structure, right?
It's the same structure, absolutely. And just like in those kind of games, as the night wears on, some of the winners start accumulating chips, and the game actually gets bigger.
And it turns more into a no-limit game. But I think you've played it absolutely great. I mean, isn't it pretty much when everyone is short-chipped in the beginning to play it pretty ABC? Because you don't really have a lot of chips to mix it up, right?
Right. And also I was setting an image up that later on I was able to exploit with a few well-timed bluffs. I mean, it looked like I was playing kind of scared and weak, which, I mean, in actuality I wasn't. It was just the tight style I decided to adopt for the early stages of this game.
Now, I'm going to move backwards chronologically from the most recent hand, which I just thought that you made. We'll get to that after this hand here. 9-4-6 on the flop. Looks like Gary's got top 2 pair here. And Ken makes the call with pocket 5s. Oh, the turn is a 5, and he spiked a set. Wow. And Gary, again, he's got 9s and 6s, top 2. And Ken has checked the set from up front. And Gary's going to continue to bet. He's going to bet 800. Let's see if Ken throws the check raise in here.
I think with a board like that, he has to throw that check raise in. It's a very dangerous-looking board. Wow.
Wow, he just smooth calls, Ali.
That's very dangerous. That's very dangerous. Because if a card could come off that would scare him off this hand.
Oh, the river's an ace of hearts. It might be a little bit of an action killer.
That's innocent, yeah.
Check. And the set of 5s is going to take it down. Let me move back chronologically. We were talking about how you've had some good tournament places, but you're mostly a high limit cash game player.
And not no limit, I might.
And not no limit. And the other thing
limit.
too, I was going to say is, you talk about no limit cash games. These players usually play a version of a high limit mix, so they don't have a lot of experience in that. And it's almost got to be guaranteed that this is some of the first times that anyone's played a no-limit restricted buy-in game, right? Because those games are usually very, very small.
The restricted buy-ins? Yeah, probably. I would say, though, that a lot of these players, particularly Fred Bagnotti, are very experienced. Fred Bagnotti is a very experienced no-limit player, as you know, Ken James as well. Yosh has played a fair amount. And Gary and Gary's also they play weekly actually in a home game, so they have experience in home games. So, everyone's played. Everyone's played. In fact, if I were to say who's played the least no limit in this field, it'd probably be me.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, the specific question I wanted to ask you about this hand was, you held ace 7, and this just happened a couple minutes ago when he threw $1,600 on the river. The flop came ace 9-9. Kenna had pocket checks. He bet 300. You called. You're looking at a $600 pot. The turn was a queen. He checked, and you checked. Now, the flop had 2 spades on it, and the river was an ace, and you made a full house on the river. And the pot was only, like I said, 600 or 700, and you threw in a big overbet on the river, which I thought you were trying to scream, I missed my flush draw, I'm trying to buy the pot. And he fell for it. Is that what you were trying to do?
That's exactly what I was doing.
And
that kind of a play would only work against a sophisticated player like Kenna, who would think on a level of like, well, this is like a ridiculously oversized bet.
Yeah.
And so what is he trying to say here? I mean, if he had an ace, he's probably going to make a smaller bet that I might pay off.
Yeah, and I was actually telling Kathy, I was like, I think if he makes a smaller bet, he doesn't call. But because he overbet it, he did call.
Right, and so I did that on purpose. Now, when after that, I think I upset him with that hand because I think he realized after the fact that the overbet was a play to get him to call. And also, obviously, more valuable. I mean, you'd rather have someone call a larger bet when you have the full house like that than a smaller bet. And the next couple of hands, he seemed a little bit more animated. I'm not sure if that had a little bit of an effect.
Yeah. Now, there was another, but I just love the overbet because we talk about overbetting the river a lot. With a monster hand, when it makes it look like you're trying to buy the pot, especially if the draws don't get there on the river, me and my fellow co-commentator Dave, there was a hand early on in the night where you stole the pot. You had queen 10 of hearts.
He said all in, and you just
Frank in C2 had raised. He actually had ace queen of clubs, and the flop came ace 10-7, all spades. It got checked to him, and he checked it in position. He did not throw a bet out with ace queen. The turn was a spade. You bet, and you took it down. He actually made aces up. He had ace queen. It was the queen of spades on the turn. And seat 6 had made queens up there, and you stole it with the third best hand. And I was really surprised to see him check there the ace on that flop.
Checking the ace there is not a bad play at all on Fred Vignotti's part. The reason is because that's a very dangerous board. The board could develop into a board where he'd have to throw his hand away if he faced any kind of significant pressure. A number of things could happen. A straight card could come on the turn. That would be very dangerous to his hand. A spade could come. That would be very dangerous to his hand. So what Fred was trying to do there was he was trying to control the pot size. By keeping the pot small, he's virtually ensuring that he won't be pushed off the hand unless a tremendously bad card comes off on the turn, which that turn card was tremendously bad. It completes a straight, and it completes any one card flush. Now, he might have been able to call were he in Gary's position. However, he has the added pressure of my bet going through him, and then you don't know what Gary's going to do behind him.
Right.
And since I'm aware of that, you're kind of creating a squeeze play kind of situation when you open the betting. I didn't bet very much. I bet a reasonable bet for the pot. So it wasn't like screaming bluff. And also, it wasn't necessarily saying that I had the hand. But it's a tough spot to be in because you don't know where Gary's at. Now, had I had Gary's hand, I probably would have called and then seen what my opponent did on the river to make the decision. However, I think what influenced his decision was up to that point I've been playing, and in fact my image continues to be very tight, very conservative, and so therefore it seemed unlikely that I would be pulling a rampant bluff here. So.
Wow. Well, I was thinking going with the thinking, and the way that I would have played the hand is possibly with the ace queen bet on the flop with the intention to folding to a check raise. Now, is that a strategy that could have been played there?
I wouldn't suggest that. I think Mr. Vignotti did the right thing there. The reason I wouldn't is because, well, now let me preface this by saying this is a little bit different in a tournament than it is in a cash game. In a tournament, you're under a lot of time pressure. If you flop top pair with a good kicker, you just got to go with it and try to protect your hand. However, in a cash game, you're playing much deeper. It's like the first levels of a large tournament. So you don't want to. So especially at this point in the game, everyone's pretty deep in chips. So you don't want to jeopardize a lot of money on a hand that's marginal. See, when you want to, I learned this from Bobby Hoff, one of the greatest no limit players in the world, and he told me basically when you put a big bet in, you either want to have a bluff or a big hand, or a big draw. A bluff, a big hand, or a big draw, and Fred did not have any of those, so he didn't want to face a big bet. Now, what would he do, for example, if I had, let's say, or Gary? Gary's even a better example because my image at that point didn't.
We'll just pop in here because
Okay.
Ken had just spiked 2 pair here on the turn, and Gary had a weak ace. And but look at this. Ken is going to get counterfeited. The river
Wow.
brings a pair of 3s, and he knows that any ace is going to beat him now, and it gets checked to him. Yeah, and I think he knows he's beat here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a tough card.
Well, the other thing that I wanted to pop into you one more. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so let me finish the analysis of that hand real quick. So let's say someone had a king of spades with a jack, and now Fred bets out some amount, and then he gets a big check raise or a big raise. Now everybody's deep in chips in that hand, and if he calls, and now the turn comes a spade, or the turn comes a king, or the turn comes a queen, I mean, he doesn't know where he's at. There's a lot of dangerous cards that could come, and if he faces a big bet again, it's very difficult for him to put all of his chips in with just one pair on a board where he could be drawing dead already. So as a result, control the pot size, and you also have a little bit of deception because people don't know exactly what you have, so you might get paid off by 2 weaker pairs, like if it come a queen of hearts or something on the turn. Gary and them would have got some chips in that pot.
Well, the other hand that I wanted to ask you about, and this is going to be one of our last hands of the night, was when Gary pulled a limp re-raise on you, and you had ace-king.
Yeah, right.
Now, you made the call, and it might have been dictated because of the amount of money that he had, but would you have given more credit to someone pulling a limp re-raise like Ken Berg for a hand that was bigger, whereas you thought the chances of him having aces and kings would be less, where he might make that move with another ace-king and ace-queen or jacks, which he had in that case?
Yeah, well, I mean, if I'm up against...
Because Ken Berg flops the nut straight in this hand, actually.
Okay, let's see what he does with
And
it.
Joe has bet. Joe's an action player.
This is going to be a fireworks hand.
It gets checked to Joe, and he's bet with ace-queen. And let's see what Kenny Berg does here.
Well,
Is he just going to call? He just calls.
Kenny's big on the slow play.
Yeah, he is. We've heard that from Barry Greenstein. We've heard it from a lot of people. And a diamond comes on the turn, and now Joe has the nut flush draw.
Wow, this is going to be fireworks. They're probably going to get all their money in on this card. If he makes any kind of bet here, well, I can't imagine that Kenny would continue to slow play this hand.
Well, I think that Joe, he only has maybe 2,000 or 3,000 left. The nature of the no-limit restricted game. All the money
Does
can
he?
go in. Well, maybe, is it 4,000?
It looks like maybe he has 4.
4,000?
His hands are covering it, but I think he might have... Okay,
Yeah,
that was a great play.
Yeah, he checks behind
That was
him.
fantastic because he's giving himself the opportunity to make that draw.
Right. The ace comes on the river, and Ken has the jack, and it
He's
makes
going to pay him off,
Yeah,
and
it's
that's it.
paid off.
Yeah, tiny bet, get paid off. That was a great play on Joe's part. Because he had that draw, the diamond draw, it's good to check there. Now, let's say the diamond didn't come off and it was like a 3 of hearts. Now, you could check, you could bet. It really doesn't matter as much.
Right.
Because if someone raises you big, you can lay down the hand. It's not so bad. But you really want to get with that nut draw. You really want to give yourself an opportunity to make that hand.
Right.
So you don't want to
Because you don't want to bet and face a check raise.
Exactly, and now you don't have the odds to draw when you have a chance to make the absolute nuts and beat any hand. So
Right.
you don't want to play yourself off the hand.
So what we're going to say, that was actually the last hand of the night. We're going to finish up with you here with the jacks and the ace-king with Gary and yourself there in seat 6. You called the limp re-raise.
Oh, okay, you want me to tell you that?
Yeah, just tell us a
Okay,
little
well,
bit about that hand.
real briefly, basically, it was a matter of if he had aces or kings, those are the 2 hands I'm afraid of in that spot. If he has aces or kings, well, I don't think he would make a gigantic re-raise like that. I think he would like to get some action on the hand. He played it deceptively. Why doesn't he continue to play a little bit deceptively and try to make some money on the hand? 800 in that game is not a fantastic win. I mean, like, you could do a lot better than that. So if you decide to play your aces and kings deceptively like he did with his jacks, then why don't you go ahead and continue that and try to really punish someone on the flop and try to double up or something in that nature. So I kind of figured that I either had a coin flip or I had him badly dominated, like if he had ace queen or something like that. So let's say I had a coin flip like 70 or 80% of the time, and I had him badly dominated 20% of the time. Now the coin flip, obviously, he's a little bit of a favorite, but we already have some dead money in there, so it seemed like a clear call to me. Now in a tournament, again, tournament strategy is different. In a tournament, your chips are precious. You don't want to just gamble it up, gamble your entire tournament on a close call like that. And in cash game, if you think you have some equity, you can go ahead and play the hand.
Well, Ali, it's a pleasure, and congratulations on being the big winner tonight. I think that you played it really, really solidly, and obviously you came away with the most amount of money. That's going to do it for us for Live at the Bike. Please join us again tomorrow at 6 o'clock Pacific time. We will probably be featuring a $300 to $500 restricted buy-in no-limit game for everybody in the booth. Ali, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
Thanks, Bart. Appreciate it.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.